Hey man, hey guys, welcome to Fluff. I'm just quickly spreading some more word about Thanksmas and my stream, and then I'll be right there with you guys. How about we just chat in the meantime? There we go. And send that to some other streams. I mean some other Discords, so we'll just really spread the news. There we go, that should be what I wanted. Alright. This one is today is a bit slower. I'm sorry about this. There we go. Hello! My thing doesn't know what I'm looking at. Okay, let me just... Alrighty then. Let me just reduce the volume just a little bit, and there we go. Now, as you guys can see from the title, which I realized I wrote Thankmas. I accidentally added an S between thanks. So ignore that. Ignore that part. But other than that, I want to ask you guys something. My god, the screen is bright as shit. I'm gonna ask you guys something. Listen. Are you cozy right now? Are you having a good time? Are you chilled? Are you relaxed? Same as me. I have some nice little atmospheric sounds on, and we're gonna read some SCPs. We're gonna have a nice, relaxing time. But guess what? We're all having a relaxing time here. We're all having a roof over our head and some warmth. That's why Thankmas exists, for people who don't have that. Now, the link in the bottom is not like I made an account. I just took Jacksepticeye's link and slapped it on down below. And so when you go there, also check out his stream. Because that's where you can see your donation actually pop up. But then if you go on the link and you donate something, can be anything, guys. Just $1, $2, $5, $10, $50, $100, $1,000. It's up to you guys. I know I won't be a big influence because I don't have a big community just yet. But anybody who watches this afterwards, or even like on YouTube who watches this afterwards, please go to Jacksepticeye's video. By the time this comes out, the Thankmas stream might be over, on YouTube at least. Here on stream, on Twitch. Just go check his video out and just donate. It would be really awesome. It's all about how they make houses out of 3D printing, and the goal is to create 1,000 houses, which they need to gather at least 10 million. Of course, we can try to achieve higher than that. And so far I'm aware we have almost reached the 1.5 million mark, which is really awesome. I am so excited. Let me double check that though. Okay, I lost the link here, which is not good, but we did it. That is an easy fix. Here we go. And we have reached, guys, 2.6 million. I donated already. I donated $100, and now I'm just trying to help out, even if it's just least not really significant amount. I will try to help out by spreading the word and having the link down below. The link will stay for at least, I would say, till I go to vacation for Christmas. So that will be at least the next Saturday, so in a week. In a week the link will be gone, but for now I will leave it up there, and you guys just go donate. I will mention this every time I start a stream. And I will also mention it every time I end the stream, so anybody who then joins later on will know that there's a charity stream, charity link down below. I'm sorry, I'm not really good at selling stuff, at least not yet. But yeah, it would be awesome if you guys just donate just a little bit. Doesn't matter if it's just $1 or not, but any amount of money is really helpful. But for now, how about we go into the new tens of SCP that we have to read. In the meantime, I'm actually gonna check something. Oh, okay. I'm good. Nope, no, I'm not good. I just realized I should ask her if she wants to watch stream up. Alright, now I'm good. You guys tell me if the volume of the background music, well, sound, if that's okay, if it's too loud, if it's too quiet. And in the meantime, how about we dive in to SCP-680 Clockwork Skull. Alright. You have my interest, Mr. Foundation. To save. I would say I should have actually filled it up with one. You know what, I'm gonna fill it up with water right now. Be right back. Give me like a minute. Alright. Fill up my bottle. To be a bit more careful about my knee. I have a race tomorrow. And I got a bit of a case of runner's knee, which is bothersome. But other than that, I'm good to go. I'm good. I'm ready. Also, I need to... this is very bright. Well, okay. Okay. Clockwork Skull. Save. Special containment procedures. Because of its usefulness as a possible diagnostic tool, SCP-680 is to be kept at Containment Site 76 in Storage Locker 76 blank. Additionally, to prevent accidental activation and subsequent waiting periods of SCP-680, I accidentally bumped my microphone. The SCP must remain at least... Where is my... There it is. Must remain at least 10 meters away from all but mechanical static machinery. Use of SCP-680 on the subject must be approved by level 3 personnel. SCP-680-1 is a slate sculpture in the form of a human skull missing its mandible with a mass of approximately 7.5 kilograms. The sculpture itself does not appear to be hollow, as all orifices have been filled with a presently unknown black substance that rates 9.6 on the Mohs scale of mineral hardness. Beyond its improbably high durability, the skull itself appears to have no particularly unusual properties. Resting on top of -1, however, is -2. This -2 appears to be a set of mineral appraisal tools connected to a large 6 cm eyepiece, which is in turn connected to a bronze head strap. Among said tools are a pair of lens adjustment knobs, a series of additional magnifying glasses, a tungsten filament with no otherwise known properties, and various other devices. Craftsmanship appears to be of late 19th century Germanic design, though since SCP-680 was discovered in blank Brazil, no specific design or influences are easily named. -2 has no particular effect when removed from the SCP from -1 and tested with the class or other personnel. Those said test subjects describe a feeling of motion sickness and general irritability afterwards. Whenever a mechanical item of sufficient complexity is placed approximately 0.5 meters in front of an assembled SCP-680, however, several of tools on -2 begin to move of their own accord and set themselves to a unique setting seemingly tuned to the object in question. Furthermore, the filament will become increasingly warm, eventually growing visibly hot. The rest of -1 and -2 will become otherwise temporarily inert. After a period of approximately 3 minutes, a series of clicks will emit from a series parts of SB680. 4 sources of clicking have been discerned. From both eyepieces adjusters from the additional from the additional magnifiers and from within S-1's right unblocked eye socket. This will continue until the filament reaches a maximum temperature of blank, after which all action ceases and skull powers down for a period of approximately 3 hours. Studies performed on SB680 have revealed that the clicks emitted by the SCP are actually messages communicated in Morse code describing the studied item's properties, including make, purported original assembler or team, function, and other items. Furthermore, particular pieces of study seem to come consistently from certain points of the SCP. For example, statistical components inquiries such as make, model, and craftsmanship are reported by the lens adjustment knobs. Suggested as to the material composition of the object. Can I tune down the brightness? I can't even see the screen because I purposely made it a bit darker here, but now I see how bright it actually is, so yeah, here we go. There we go. Yeah, that's a bit nicer. A bit nicer to look at. Also, I'm going to do the same thing right here. This is even bright, and I cannot change it for some reason. Okay, that's fine. Kind of weird that you can though. Oh well, that one's not as bad to think about. This one is now a bit more enjoyable to look at. Suggests that the material composition. Yeah, I read that. Material composition. Yeah, here we go. Material composition data gathered by SCP-680 appears to be largely statistical, giving a list of item materials corresponding to 80 reported out of the first 92 elements of the periodic table. Materials are usually given in the greatest percentage of the presence, and subsequent spectral analysis of said objects usually confirm SCP-680's analysis to within 10%, with notable deviations see Addendum 2. Notes about specific make of the object study match surprising precisely with object of known origin, such as with SCP-blank, where not only the development team was named, but also the leader's name and the SCP's approximate date of creation. Unusual notes made by -1's eye socket are much less precise than the rest of the SCP's notes, and usually take on a conciliatory nature. Many times, especially with studied SCPs, the messages will be generally what has been studied, but will also give general comments that often lead to a better overall understanding of other SCP's behavior. As such, however, much of its empirical data is either frustratingly vague or present in a riddle. Okay, that is an issue. I can see why like they can use this, like, oh, because it shows you what this SCP is all about, but it doesn't tell you directly. It's like going to the doctor and trying to find out if you have any sort of like tumor, and he's trying to, and you have to solve a goddamn an algebra problem just to figure out if if it is a yes or no. And you're like, listen, just tell me you're straight ahead. Dr. Menthor has shaped a theory that this SCP's general notes do not actually come from the SCP studying the material at hand, but instead performs a quick survey of previously conducted research and paraphrases it. No explanation for how it obtains this information, however, has been discovered. And Dr. Menthor is reminded that he must be more explicit in said theories so that they can at least be verifiable. Addendum 1, SCP-680 must be presented directly to the object to be studied. A reproduction of the object at best will give information on the model or display of the object in question. Similarly, holding SCP-680 into a mirror, unless the mirror has sufficiently SCP quality characteristics, will yield no information from SCP-680. Okay, so you can't make it talk about itself, is what they're trying to say. Addendum 2, SCP-680 appears only to be activated when presented with sufficiently mechanical objects. Biological objects elicit no response. for the SCP, and if a mechanical object has biological components, SCP-680 will completely ignore these qualities. Here, mechanical is used to describe objects with at least blank moving parts with its structure. Okay. So this is an SCP that technically could be used for easier, for the Foundation's benefit, but it just is, well, the problem is of course that it doesn't tell you straight, like in a direct way, what what it is. So I can see how that is a bit of a hassle, you know. It's just you already have to worry about if you go and die, or if something might explode, or if something might disappear, and then you have this SCP that could just tell you right away, and you're like, yes, thank God. And a shortcut, and this SCP is like, oh. But the answer you seek is in the middle that I speak. Now answer me this question 3. And you're like, no, no, for fuck's sake, I don't need this. Oh, ice cold water. It's so good. So now we have hostile helium. I lift you up. I lift you up. I can be your helium. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Imagine that. Helium just like, I can be your helium. Gets a gun out of nowhere. A helium gun, so when you get hit, all the oxygen leaves and just replaces with helium inside your body, and you just start like choke but float. Euclid. SCP-681 is to be contained in a row of standard pressure tanks rated to contain helium gas. All tanks. Excuse-moi. Now that's not okay thing to do on Thankmas. Where are my manners? All tanks are to be chained to the floor or walls of the containment room. The containment room is to be kept airtight and at near vacuum pressures, with 2 level 1 staff assigned to check for tank leakage once a week. Checks are to be made in pressure suits, and none of the gas is to be removed without clearance from level 2 personnel. In the event of a minor leakage in the storage chamber, the room is to be temporarily flooded with normal air to force SCP-681 into collection traps in the ceiling. Should a very large leak occur, or should SCP-681 reach the containment room, I'm trying to, if you guys notice, I'm trying to like see if I can read the R's more, because I can definitely containment room, but of course that sounds weird because I never did that in my life. So nearby personnel are to be supplied oxygen mask immediately, and the bubbles of SCP-681 forming around them are to be siphoned off. SCP-681 can be oh my god, my nose is so itchy recently, I won't believe it. It's so itchy that like I have like random sneeze attacks. Like I'll be like, I'll do nothing would happen. I would just do my own thing, and next thing you know, I'll be like, and I'm like, where did that come from? It's not even like a like that. It's I was just. SCP-681 can be safely placed in latex balloons without the usual concern of leakage, but no more than 3 average balloons worth of SCP-681 are to be removed from the containment rooms at any time. Oh, my friend is asking me where the address of the race is. Right by Helmhouse. Just come to my place. Description: discovered in a warehouse under investigation for several cases of reported death by suffocation. There you go. SCP-681 is roughly 155 centimeter canisters of helium gas with unusual properties. In the event of leakage in the vicinity of brainwave-producing subjects, it will move towards the subject and fill airways and sinus cavities with helium gas. In enough volume, this can lead to death via suffocation. Wow, so it's aiming to just filling up any hole that breathes with helium. It just makes sure that you can't breathe. It's not just like floating around. It actually looks for you, and you just go like it gangs up on you basically. What's it called again? Yeah, it jumps you. It jumps you basically. While still in the 155 centimeter storage canisters, it retains some of the capacity to exert mobility hampered by the weight of the metal container. In a lighter container, such as the few 60 centimeters party-sized ones collected with the main batch, SB681 can exert enough force to deliver a head concussion. The range of the effect is limited to roughly 30 meters, but this is highly variable. If placed in a balloon, it will simply drift towards any thinking organisms nearby and repeatedly bump against them. Balloon animals, however, will become slightly animate and Balloon animals, however, will become slightly animate and act hostile. Is that how you say slightly animate? Not animated. And act hostile, because I think that's... Though it's still largely ineffective due to being simple latex balloon animals. SB681 will, though through unknown means, migrate into nearby balloons if it breaches containment. And then after all this time, someone just now thought to check the serial numbers on the canister and discovered we're missing over blank of them. Do you people have any idea how much gas there is in one of those? Dr. Blank. You know, like, these doctors always say that, like, oh my god, you guys didn't even think about this? But I'm like, aren't you like the leader of this whole operation? Shouldn't you also be ashamed of not thinking about this beforehand? Like, or like in the moment, like you get captured, you're like, hey, these are canisters of helium that have abnormal properties. Shouldn't you, as a doctor, as a leader, be like, does it have a serial number? Do we know if these are the only ones? And then somebody's like, oh, let me actually check. Yeah, no, there's more of these. Okay, now, okay, good that we checked, because now we know that there's more of these. We should probably send the people out to find them. No, of course not. Blame everybody else. Go be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why didn't you think about it? See, this ain't in the spirit of thankmas, my man. Okay. Ooh, we went safe. Euclid Keter. No wait, save Euclid Keter to hard to destroy reptile. Ooh. 3,000. Wait, is this a famous one? I feel like I heard about this one. Maybe. Also, I feel like Hostile Helium would be a good SCP to do for the mini-series. I need to start writing a script. When I'm going to be beat, I'm starting writing scripts. I swear to God, I'm done postponing this. I want to write scripts. Okay, here we... Wait, is this like a... Okay, it leads to somewhere else. Oh, boy. Today's a long read. Today's gonna be a long read. I just saw how long that was. Oh, no. I can't stay up too long, guys. Even though I want to, I can't. Because I have the race tomorrow. I need to go to bed early enough. I need to sleep. So, let's just go on ahead. Keter, SCP-682 must be destroyed as soon as possible. This time, no means available to SCP teams are capable of destroying SCP-682, only able to cause massive physical damage. SCP-682 should be contained within a 5 meters cubed chamber with 25 centimeters reinforced acid-resistant steel plate lining all inside surfaces. The containment chamber should be filled with hydrochloric acid until SCP-682 is submerged and incapacitated. Any attempts of SCP-682 to move, speak, or breach containment should be reacted to quickly and with full force as called for by the circumstances. SCP-682 shortly after escaping from containment still recovering from acid immersion. Oh damn. What even is that? That looks... Like what? That must be like some actual animal. Yeah, or maybe, I don't know. It is an animal or something completely else. Yeah, personnel are forbidden to speak to SCP-682 for fear of provoking a rage state. Yeah, I mean... Oh boy. All unauthorized personnel attempting to communicate to SCP-682 will be restrained and removed by force. Due to its frequent attempts at containment breach, difficulty of containment and incapacitation, and high threat of Foundation exposure, SCP-682 is to be contained inside redacted. The Foundation will use the best of its resources to maintain all land within 50 kilometers clear of human development. 50 kilometers! 50! That is the size of Ibiza. The whole island is not allowed to have any humans on it. Can you imagine that? How crazy that would be. Get rid of the whole island just to keep this SCP away from humans. Because that's apparently how much space you need to just keep this in check. SCP-682 is a large, vaguely reptile-like creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent and was observed to engage in complex communication with SCP-079. Isn't that... That's something else. What is 079 again? But I think I know 079. Old AI, yes. The one AI that like learns stuff and forgets stuff in the same time. During the limited time of exposure, SCP-682 appears to have a hatred of all life, which has been expressed in several interviews during containment. See Addendum B. So it can talk, we already know that. And it also hates everything that is alive. Why? Who hurt you? Who hurt you that you have to go on a rampage? SCP-682 has always been observed to have extremely high strength, speed, and reflexes, though exact levels vary with its form. What do you mean? Does it like morph? SCP-682's physical body grows and changes very quickly, growing on or decreasing in size as it consumes or sheds material. SCP-682 gains energy from anything it ingests, organic or inorganic. Digestion seems to be aided by a set of filtering gills inside of SCP-682's nostrils, which are able to remove usable matter from any liquid solution, enabling it to constantly regenerate from the acid it is contained in. SCP-682's regenerative capabilities and resilience are staggering, and SCP-682 has been seen moving and speaking with its body 87% destroyed or rotted. In case of containment breach, SCP-682 is to be tracked and recaptured by all available mobile task forces, and no teams with fewer than 7 members are clear to engage it. To date, attempted breaches have numbered at 17, while successful breaches have numbered at 6. See Addendum D. Okay, Addendum B, that is an interview. Okay, portion of record transcript of blank. Begin log, skip to 21 minutes, 52 seconds. Now, why did you kill those farmers? If you don't talk now, we will remove you from this attempt and place you back into... Pardon? Motions to move microphone closer. Speak up to personnel D085. Move the mic up closer. They were incomprehensible to personnel D085. The microphone has only so much gain. Move it closer to it. His throat's messed up, man. Look at it. He ain't talking. Gasps and screams, appearing to assault D. They were disgusting. Which reads from the room. Yeah, I mean, okay. Fair enough. I mean, the D guy knew. He's like, hey, I don't really want to move closer. Addendum D. Oh, wait, what happened to it? Like, we jumped away from A and C, and now we're already at D. First, breaches with SCP-682. Oh my god. Oh my god. First occurrence handled by Agent handled by Agent Blank, KIA, personnel D129, KIA, personnel D027, KIA, personnel D173, KIA, personnel D200, KIA, killed in action, right? Yeah. Personnel D193, killed in action. Second occurrence, blank handled by Agent Blank, Dr. Blank, personnel D124, personnel D137, KIA, personnel D2, okay, I'm just gonna say killed. D201 killed, personnel D202 killed, personnel D203 killed. Third occurrence, all blanks, and by Agent Blank. Sergeant Blank, Agent Blank killed, personnel D0818. I was about to say 18, but then yeah, killed. Personnel D211 killed. Personnel D216 alive. Hey. Fourth occurrence handled by Agent Blank, Sergeant Blank, So Major Sergeant and something else sergeant and all these type of sergeants. The blank killed blank killed blank killed blank killed blank killed. Fifth occurrence handled by personnel D221 Agent blank killed Agent blank killed Agent blank killed personnel D028 killed personnel D111 killed personnel D281 killed personnel D209 killed. Sixth occurrence handled by Agent blank personnel D21 D91 missing Agent blank killed personnel D299 killed. Holy shit! Yeah, it's the indestructible lizard. Wait, is that what it's called? Oops. How to destroy reptile? It basically regenerates. It regenerates. It's super fast, super strong, super reflexes. It can talk. It hates everything that lives, and it can even still communicate with 87% of its body missing. So yeah, it's basically Deadpool with massive hatred as a reptile, and it breached a bunch of times, and yeah. So Matt, welcome to the Fluff. Welcome to the stream. I read through 2 SCPs already: Clockwork Skull, Hostile Helium. Clockwork Skull is basically a device that tells you that if you point at an SCP, it will tell you what the SCP is, what it consists out of, what it lives by, what it needs to eat, what it needs to feast, and all that stuff. Like it just basically tells you that, except it tells you via a riddle. So it's not really that useful. It's semi-useful. And Hostile Helium, it's basically if it's a helium tank that if there's ever a leakage, the helium will sense anything with a brainwave around them, and then attack it by basically filling up any airway that you have to use to breathe with helium until you die with suffocation. And that's so far how far I am. And now we're by how to destroy a reptile, which there is a very, very, very long second page. It's extremely long. We're gonna be here for a while. I did say before I can't stay up to all the time. I'm 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna go to bed because I need to sleep because I have to race tomorrow. So, and also below is a link to Jacksepticeye's Thankmas. It's a charity event. That's why this is also now called SCP Reading plus Thankmas. It's a charity event where you can when you spend some money to build houses for people who don't have any house, and the houses are being built with 3D printing, basically, like very simple but sturdy house building. And it's Jacksepticeye's stream as well. So if you do donate anything, it doesn't have to be like crazy. I donated $100. If you just donate like $5, that would be very cool. You don't have to. I'm not gonna force you to it, but if you can, that would be nice. So yeah. Addendum E, termination options. Log of events 682-E18. Dr. Blank attempts to use SB 409, which I believe. Which one is that? Contagious yes. Isn't that the one that, like, if you touch it, you become crystallized? Yeah. I believe that's it. Well, we can check. Luckily I have the SCP Explained, which is just a shorter, quick. It's a 5-foot quartz crystal, and anything not made of quartz that touches it will turn the quartz at a rate of 1. Yep, exactly. It makes you turn the crystal. On SCP-682, General Blank, and Dr. Blank observing. 0400 exposure. SCP-682 began to tear at the point of contact, causing a massive trauma to the area. SCP-682 requests several times to know what it has been exposed to. Crystallization begins, spreading much slower than normal. SCP-682 shows signs of extreme pain and begins having seizures. Crystallization stops at 62% conversion. Crystallized area explodes, causing massive physical trauma to SCP-682. SCP-682 recovers from exposure despite the loss of limbs and organs. SCP-682 begins regeneration, stating that it will attempt to kill and consume all staff involved in the event 682-E18. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Listen, It already hates everything living. There's no reason to increase its hatred. SCP-682 appears to be now immune to SCP-409. Use of other SCP items to terminate SCP-682 must now first be tested on samples of SCP-682 before full-scale testing. In accordance with Dr. Blank's recommendation, see document 27B6, Dr. Blank and Dr. Blank have requested permission to attempt the termination of SCP-682 using SCP-689. Now, if we're lucky, we might get to read this today. If not, that's gonna be something I have to probably read to. I have to read like off screen and then add that to the YouTube video. The request is currently pending approval from the Blank. It has also been suggested by Dr. Gears to use SCP-182 in an attempt to communicate with SCP-682. SCP that one is 182 is Rider. Excuse me. Wait, that's not. Oh shit. That's not what I wanted to do. Excuse me. Yeah, just keep this open for now. Rider, you say? A man that is both deaf and mute with abdominal and cranial scouring. It is telepathic, able to get all of the central meeting in the center of experience. Oh, yeah, I remember him. SCP-182 has expressed reluctance and refused to enter the containment center of SCP-682 if at all possible. Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the highest rating SCPs I've had in a while. 3,000? It's pretty good. Okay, termination log. Oh, this is gonna take a while. Get yourself something to drink, something to eat. It's gonna be a long one. Cross SCP termination testing for SCP. Okay, these are SCPs that. Okay, if I don't know one, we'll skip it. Or maybe should we do that? I feel like that would be sad, like a bad thing to do to just skip just because I don't understand what it does. I won't remember until like if it's like an SCP like far in the future, might as well read it because I'm not gonna remember it until I get to that point. And even if I do get to that point, I'm not gonna remember that this SCP has any connection with that. Maybe. Due to highly aggressive, adaptive, and intelligent nature of SCP-682, termination testing has been ordered, with clearance from O5 Command, with major concerns raised about possible developed immunities to the failure of SCP-409 and possible adaptation. All tests must first be carried out on tissue samples taken from SCP-682. This step may be bypassed only by O5 Command order. So we have SCP-017, which is Shadow Person, yeah. Sample shadowed by SCP-017 without incident. SCP-682 exposed to SCP-017. SCP-682 issues several sounds at extremely high volume, damaging several recording devices. Sound extends across several wavelengths, reported as the most god-awful roar by staff. SCP-017 appears to stumble, then return to a far corner of the containment area. SCP-682 attempts to break containment of both SCP-682 and SCP-017. SCP-682 suppressed by agent and removed. SCP-682 states you foul bags of tissue you don't get expunged. Note, it is unclear if SCP-682 somehow damaged SCP-017 or communicate with it. Analysis of the recorded sound is ongoing. Then we have 063, which is the world best toothbrush. That one was is the that will remove from existence and non-biological or non-living materials it touches. Yeah. It just makes you go away. Sample eradicated. No traces of above molecular level remain. SCP-063 was refilled to the end of a rotatory arm, which was deployed into 682's enclosure. Initial approach proves partially successful, with SCP-682 losing more than 20% body weight before regeneration overtakes the destruction process. Newly regrown tissues are not vulnerable to SCP-063's eradication effect. 682 destroys the deployment arm and oh my god. There, he's gone now. 6-8. Destroys the deployment arm and 063 digs a hole through the enclosure ground, where it is later recovered. 682 succeeds in extending a long prehensile limb through the hole and maintaining 2 security personnel before containment is re-established. Hypothesis: 682 is not bound to base Earth biological chemistry and can adapt itself to be organic or inorganic as necessary. Some of the boys on the lab are arguing whether or we can even classify it as living, at least as we understand life. This worries me because an unliving, undying, intelligent monster, well, that's where you start getting sacrificed in your name, Dr. Zara. 162. That is Ball Sharp. Is that the one that is a giant sphere of sharp object? Anyone with the vicinity of it will be trying to touch it. Yeah, that thing that just like, but it's like, yeah, it's, and then just hooks come out. Yeah, I remember that. Sample and tag without incident. SB682 exposed to SCP-162. SB682 begins thrashing violently, emitting several roaring sounds and issuing profanity directed at testing staff. SB682 becomes entangled with SB162, primarily in the lower body, head, and left forelimb. Entangled areas undergo massive trauma due to SCP-682's thrashing. After 4 minutes of continuous exposure, SCP-682 lunges away from SCP-162, severing its lower jaw and left hind limb, and causing serious tissue damage to many areas of its body. SCP-162 remains attached to the left forelimb of SCP-682. SCP-682 breaks containment using SCP-162 against several agents, staff, and researchers, resulting in 11 deaths and 86 injuries. Forelimb and SCP-162 removed from SCP-682 during re-establishment of containment. 2 additional deaths occurred during the recontainment of SCP-162. Note: General Blank has requested that Mr. Noaquium and the members of staff involved with the approval of this test report to Site Command for disciplinary hearing. I mean, they couldn't know. They couldn't know that he would use it with for his own auditory mind control. Yeah, okay. Overwritten by 05 Command, SCP-682 exposed to SCP-061. SCP-682 enters the relaxed state consistent with SCP-061 exposure. SCP-682 is given the command lie down. SCP-682 remains unresponsive. Command repeated twice before SCP-682 lowers itself to the ground. Movement notes to be very sluggish and jerky. SCP-682 given the command roll onto your back. SCP-682 unresponsive. Command repeated 3 times. SCP-682 shudders several times, partially rolling over before returning to form position. Command repeated 6 times. SCP-682 appears to undergo a violent seizure, partially rising before collapsing to the floor. SCP-682 given the command stand up. SCP-682 repeatedly rises and breaches containment. SCP-682 ignores all commands given to it. Several agents and staff respond to re-establish containment. SCP-682 emits a high-pitched screech. All human beings in 15 meters radius suddenly enter the relaxed state consistent with SCP-006. Oh my god! It somehow copied its power. SCP-682 consumes several members of staff before being recontained by specially equipped emergency response teams. Sonic stun adaptation lost from SCP-682 after 2 weeks. Note: study into how SCP-682 integrated SCP-061 into its biology is ongoing. That is, oof. That's this one. Young girl, isn't? Isn't that the one? Yeah, isn't that the one who? Is a little girl that looked at touched, or if you have been around for 10 minutes, you get angry and start killing everyone in the room with you. If you try to kill her, you suffer a massive heart attack and die. She can also regenerate. So yeah, he wants you. Okay. You want to give him a heart attack, which I highly doubt that. Like, heart attack seems to be the least effective if, I don't know, crystallization doesn't work. NA written by 05 Command. SCP-682 introduced to SCP-053 containment area. SCP-682 appears to be very confused and shows no sign of being affected by SCP-053. SCP-053 appears to be afraid of SCP-682 and hides behind a chair in her containment area. SCP-682 lowers itself to the ground, resting its head on the floor. SCP-053 approaches SCP-682 and after several seconds of hesitation briefly touches SCP-682 before rapidly returning to her hiding place. SCP-682 does not react in any way. SCP-053 approaches SCP-682 and pats its head, causing it to exhale through its forward nostrils. SB053 collapsed and hops in place several times before embracing the head of SB682. For the remainder of the testing period, SB682 appears to be in a very docile state, with only 2 low-level escape attempts being made. SB053 is observed to bring toys and other items to SB682 and make several drawings on its forehead, carapace, and with crayons. Staff entering at the end of the test phase are immediately attacked by SB682, resulting in 2 deaths and 5 injuries. SB682 is contained and moved to a separate containment unit. SB053 observed crying for several minutes after SB682 is removed. That is lovely. I think that's cute. That it sees a little girl and she's like, oh. So you don't hate all life, SCP-682. You don't hate all life. You little tsum, you little tsundere, aren't you? The reaction of SB682 is notable for several reasons. First, it is one of the few instances where SB682 has come in contact with biological tissue and not entered a rage state. Second, it has raised questions as to the physical makeup and composition of SCP-053 in regards to the lack of response of SB682. Third, it has provided a possible solution to long-term containment. However, approval for the mutual containment of 2 highly dangerous SCP items in a single containment unit is not likely. Yeah, she's Euclid. She's not Keter, but she's Euclid, which is not. That's a bit more than what they need. Contained miniature black hole. Yeah, okay. Tissue sample absorb. This is so long. I might have to like. I will read this. I don't know. I'm not sure if I should read the whole thing now. You know. How about I'll read like a half an hour of this. And then I'll go to the next one. Like I said, usually I would want to read the whole thing. Usually. But since I have a race tomorrow, I want to be responsible and not lose any sleep. Tissue sample absorbed by the core. Test cancelled after review of testing done between SB162 and SB682. The potential issues arising from SB682 gaining control of SB123 are too great at this time. Review of this proposal will be made of if SCP-682 is so incapacitated by some means with no potential of escape or stuff. It's okay. The day hasn't acted up anyway, but I'm pretty sure it's still there. The pain, like I'm pretty sure once I start running tomorrow, it's gonna shot back, and then the first 2 kilometers are gonna be like massive pain, and then after a while I will just run normally and I will just push myself. But right now it's good. I'm gonna put one more layer of cream on it, and then put the strap on it, and then sleep. Hopefully it will go alright. Oh yeah, this is sculpture. Okay, they add the sculpture as a test. Alright, SB682 introducing the containment area of SB173. SB682 makes several screeching noises and quickly presses against a wall of forest from SCP-173, staring at it the entire time. SCP-682 continues to stare at SCP-173 without pause for 6 hours. Damn, so it knows what it is. Agents equipped with large caliber sniper rifles dispatch and shoot out the eyes of SCP-682 at the same time, stopping all observation of SCP-173 and SCP-682. After resuming observation, SCP-682 is shown to be on the floor with several injuries around his head, neck, and legs. SCP-173 is seen to have tissue from SCP-682 on his hands. SCP-682 rapidly regenerates damage and moves to a different wall, developing several sets of eyes on various parts of its body, many covered by thick, clear caps of armored carapace. SCP-682 maintains observation of SCP-173 for an additional 12 hours, despite additional efforts of agent and Foundation staff. SCP-682 allowed to exit the containment area and recaptured in temporary containment. After review, it appears SCP-173 was unable to do lethal damage to SCP-682 due to a major difference in physical sizes. As a possible repeat of this test may be made if SCP-682 is damaged enough to reduce its physical mass or to a level equal with SCP-173. Dr. Clef. SCP-682 introduced to testing area. Dr. Clef introduced to testing area. Dr. Clef and SCP-682 stare at each other for approximately 3 minutes. Dr. Clef slowly backs out of the testing area as SCP-682 continues to stare. Dr. Clef attempts to open door of testing air determined to be locked. Dr. Clef reportedly uses several loud expletives and attaches an unknown device to the door, keeping his eyes on SCP-682 the whole time. SCP-682 continues to stare. Dr. Clef detonates a small plastic explosive charge on the door, causing a containment breach. SCP-682 continues to stare. Dr. Clef engages emergency secondary lockdown doors and declares a partial containment situation. SCP-682 does not react. Dr. Clef proceeds to the Experiment Observation Center. Wow. Can you imagine just you end up in there and all that thing is just looks at you this whole time. Everything you do just doesn't move, just I'll be worried. High altitude impact denied. Testing denied. Seriously, I mean, seriously, drop it out of an aircraft and let it fall. Who in the data expunge? Yeah, I mean, the chance it will survive is pretty high, and then it's free. It can then run away. Run away now, run away now, run away. One ordinary human child. What the fuck? Child began to scream and cry when SCP-682 was introduced into the cell. Subject was immediately and mercilessly devoured by SCP-682. Okay, so that didn't work so well. Maybe the fact that the kid was crying made SCP-682 perceive it as hostile intent. Guest researcher Dr. Are you guys dumb? The SCP is smart enough to understand that crying is not a hostile intent. It knows that crying is just it's either it's A, it's in pain, or B, it's sad, or B, or C, it's afraid. And then you have a second child, one ordinary human child, drugged to cancel extreme emotional reactions. Child stood and smiled, giggling at SCP-682, and with no sign of fear, SCP-682 devoured the subject messily. Are you dumb? What are you gonna tell the parents? Maybe we can try that again. I'm sure somewhere out there there's a kid who will make friends with it like SB-053 did. Guest researcher Dr. W. Subject screamed in terror and pounded on the door to the test facility, begging to be let out. SCP-682 devoured a message 3 minutes after being introduced. Thing, sadistic asshole. I've got no sympathy for that more whatsoever. Introducing children to this thing monster? What the hell? Assistant Director Clef. The fuck is wrong with you? Oh, okay, so Director Clef was introduced and just like... So he did this all to like see what he would... okay, so... okay, gotcha. But my god, this guy, like, yeah, let's just feed it more children. What the hell is wrong with this guy? I'm glad that Dr. Clef's like... throw him in. No mercy, just... throw him in there. Tissue sample was successfully bisected 13 times before adopting a mirror finish. After multiple attempts, the main body of SCP-682 was successfully bisected into parts that were equal in mass at T plus 13 hours. Dead scraps were removed from the room 1 2 halves, subsequently designated SCP-682A and 682B, regenerated. After the recovered period, A and B appeared to survey the area and evaluate each other, presumably... oh god, you actually cut him in half. And now there's two. He's getting out of hand. Now there are two of them. Presumably in anticipation of attack service fluctuation indicative of internal modification when noted, but all external changes occurred and disappeared far too quickly to be adequately described. High energy bioluminescent organs on the face, spine, and forelimbs were observed as well in both specimens, usually forming, pulsing, and disappearing again over the course of a few seconds. At T plus 42 hours, SCP, Dash A and Dash B simultaneously collapsed on the floor and all vital signs ceased, remaining in this state for the following 48 hours. They must have been like, oh my god, we did it. At T 84 hours, plus 84 hours, the laser was used again in an attempt to cut A and B into more manageable sizes, leading to minor structural damage to the room at the laser being reflected off the skin. Wait, why? As both Dash A and Dash B remained immobile despite the increased potential for escape, 2 D-class personnel were released into the room immediately upon the entry data expunged. Like, are you telling me that they potentially died and you decided to like chop them off more? Are you fucking shitting me? You might have accidentally restarted the the HUD. Technical failure of the observation equipment and test chamber breach was detected from outside, activating safety protocol T98816OC108/682-N147. Containment was successfully established at cost of blank security personnel, blank D-class personnel, and blank researchers, including doctors. Data expunged. The majority of the testing area was considered unsalvageable and demolished for later reconstruction. Experimental supervisor Dr. Blank was found unconscious and in critical condition outside the observation chamber. See medical logs for blank blank blank. Medical staff succeeded in sufficiently reviving him to be debriefed by Agent Blank, whereupon it was harshly reprimanded and data expunged. Note, only one SCP-682 was found in the locked down area surrounding the wreckage, apparently at near full mass rather than the expected 50% scattered tissue within the facility account for the missing mass. Dr. Blank's testimony indicates that Dash A and Dash B exhibit a high degree of coordination following the security breach, but that once Dash B became heavily damaged by security personnel, it was immediately devoured and reabsorbed by Dash A. Total loss of one of the SCP-682 specimen is considered highly improbable, and searches have been called to a halt. Agent Blank. Note, much as our department would love to know whether SCP-682 retained a single consciousness during the dissection, or whether the two counterparts were actually able to cooperate until the stalemate was ended by external forces. For practical purpose, we do not under any circumstances advise trying that again. Dr. Noaquarium. Item 60 MTM thermonuclear bomb. Testing denied. One would think that putting SCP-682 in the epicenter of an explosion that can cause third-degree burns at a distance of 300 kilometers is a good idea, but as long as there are odds of survival, we simply cannot go through with it. Yes, it's a goddamn nuke, but if 682 survives and adapts, we'll be boned beyond belief. We'll be boned beyond belief. 05. Can you imagine 05? One of the top people from the Foundation says to you, yeah, if this goes wrong, we'll be boned beyond belief. Oh my god. This is 662, which I read recently. So that is Butler's handbell. What would the butler be able to do? What would the butler be able to do against SCP-6? Mr. D summon asks if he can destroy SCP-682 permanently. Mr. D responds, I'm terribly sorry, sir. I'm afraid I can. Mr. D asks if he can kill SCP-682. I'm against him. I'm terribly sorry, but I'm afraid I can't. Mr. Deeds is asked if he can incapacitate SCP-682. Mr. Deeds responds, as a matter of fact, depending on how Sir means the word incapacitate, and depending on how long Sir wishes the creature be incapacitated, yes. Mr. Deeds asks to expand on how he would perform such an action. Mr. D responds, sir, the simplest and quickest method, which I must point out would not be the most efficient, would be for me to offer myself up to the creature to devour me. Certainly its offensive capacities will be lessened whilst it is occupied in consuming my flesh. This will be simple as it requires no preparation on my part, sir, but I'm certain you understand that the overall effect on the creature will be insignificant. Were I to engage the creature in combat, either with or without weapons, I could certainly occupy its attention in offensive capacities for long intervals. Unfortunately, I'm afraid the creature would eventually defeat me, at which point it will begin consuming my flesh as I have previously described. However, I could certainly booby trap my person with a variety of noxious substance, soporifics perhaps, or explosive, or perhaps encapsulated neurotoxins, or even redacted, so that when the creature does inevitably consume me, it sustains further damage. That said, sir, I must remind you that the creature's tendency towards regeneration means that any damage I inflict will be sadly temporary. Mr. Dees is thanked and dismissed. Note that Dees' knowledge of redacted is not to be considered a security breach. Yeah, no, of course not, because he magically just knows things. There's no... Okay. Now, here's a question. Should I read these, but even though there's SCPs I will read later? Or should I skip them? I shall read them. It just makes them more interesting. This one, I hopefully I get to read that today. SB68 exposed to SB689. Lights shut off in containment area. Lights remain extinguished for 5 minutes. Lights are switched on. SB689 remains in its original position. SB682 is in a pool of grey and black liquid with no observable life signs. D-Class issued to physically verify SB682 termination with 2 agents supervising. D-Class enters 3 steps into the containment area when SB682 rapidly rises and attacks D-Class personnel. SB682 breaks containment and escapes, killing 1 agent in the process. Remaining agent killed by SCP-689 due to its accidental observation during testing. It appears that SCP-682 is not alive in a way that is currently understood or is immune to SCP-689. In addition, it appears that SCP-682 has prior knowledge of SCP-689 or was somehow able to understand its function or to play possum and escape. Item SCP-738. Researcher sites in -2 ask what would you want in exchange for permanently destroying the entity which we refer to as SCP-682 while leaving this planet inspires you its human population, its human civilization, its big foundation and the rest of the universe intact. And it takes form of the same entity as test 203 states your foundation couldn't afford it and you personally definitely couldn't afford it and does not respond further. Ooh, sassy. Again, we don't know what it is, we don't know what it can do, we just know it can apparently destroy the entire universe. Sample consumed without incident. Mobile container with SB-743 was transported to a testing chamber into which SB-682 was released from. Primary containment, SB-743's container was opened remotely. SB-743 observed resting. SB-682 appears to ignore SB-743. After blank minutes, SB-743 started flowing. SB-682 appeared to notice within seconds. SB-682 cautiously approached SB-743 and tasted its flowing liquids. SB-682 started to lap up the liquid from SB-743. After blank second, SB-682 grasped SB-743 with its forelimbs and started pouring the liquid straight from SB-743 into its mouth. So you just did that. SB-682 drank for blank minutes at times, later expunged on its back. SB-743 stopped flowing and started feeding. SCP-682 tried to fight off ant swarm but was soon covered swarm started to feed on SCP-682 who stopped moving. Blank minutes later, after SCP-682 has been reduced to 79% of its original mass, SCP-682 opened its mouth and stuck out its tongue. SCP-682's tongue has become 5 meters long and sticky like an anteater's tongue. Oh, fuck off. SCP-682 started to lap up ants of itself with its tongue, eating thousands of ants at once. SCP-682 and SCP-743 continued to feed off each other for a blank hours until testing was terminated. SCP-682 displayed faster than normal regeneration for blank days afterwards. Adapted tongue remained for blank days. SCP-743 treated SCP-682 as organic, but that's hardly conclusive proof. More significant is the question of whether consuming SCP-743's liquid contributed to SCP-682's heightened regenerative abilities. If, as suspected, it did, 743 and 682 needed to stay far, far away from each other, Dr. Lambert. We read like I don't know, like 20 minutes, and we only like not even almost a quarter of a way done with this. Yeah, I think I'm going. Gonna read like five more, and then we gonna skip the rest of this. I'm gonna read it myself for sure. I'm very sorry. Usually I would read this whole thing, but as I said, I'm gonna leave this for like tomorrow to read for myself. SCP-807, a 682 special, 10 kilograms of rotten meat and sharpened bone splinters, 10 liters of rancid mayonnaise, 10 liters of potassium cyanide, and 1 kilogram morphine hydrochloride combined into a solid mass and transmuted via SCP 807 was dumped into the testing room. SB682 devoured special, then began loudly demanding more. 9 minutes later, SB682 collapsed. After 45 minutes of observation, SB682 had not moved. 2 D-class personnel in anti-807 environment suits were sent in to verify that SB682 was in fact terminated. D-class were equipped with further specials in case SB682 required further distracting. Specials were placed on the ground in front of SB682's head. In response, SB682 opened its eyes and began gnawing weakly on the nearest special. D-class personnel began touching SB682, believing that it had been rendered harmless at this point. SB682's skin ruptured in at least 11 locations, releasing ultra-high pressure, estimated 2.7 MPa, jets of blood in all directions. Contact with SB682's blood breached the integrity of the anti-807 environment suits, and both D-class personnel were contaminated. Yeah, oh boy, God, Jesus. D-class personnel began data expungement. By the time SB682 had finished consuming the second special, its skin had healed over, and both D-class personnel had terminated SB682, then about the third special with the same speed and enthusiasm that it had about the first. There's just no way. There's just no way to kill it. Just say it. There's no way. That's 1 out of 5. SB826 equipped with 1 copy of the genuinely nice, friendly thing that can and will kill SB682 permanently if it so much as spots that damn lizard. A 12-page short story written by Dr. Blank detailing a large friendly monster that is stated to be capable of permanently killing SB682 and 1 D-class personnel, D682-32, equipped with 1 2010 Ducati Multistrada motorcycle for the purpose of the raiding SB682. Stories put between SCP-826 and placed into a large empty room, blank meter cubed in dimension, with a remotely, I should say that, but I'm not sure if it's actually cubed, with a remotely operated doorway large enough to send SB682 through. SB682 is brought in front of the entryway securely. Once researchers clear the area, the door is remotely open, exposing a green pasture similar to the one described in the story. SB682 is reluctant to go through, so D682-32 is sent through as bait. 682 follows through doorway, whereupon the doorway closed behind them. 30 minutes later, SB682 bursts back through the door. It was sent through somewhat worse for wear, killing blank researcher and blank agent in the process. Recovery personnel describe the story's pasture as having become a battleground, featuring impact craters with enormous body parts scattered around. Parts are thought to be from the story's thing. Recovered stories retitled a generally nice, friendly thing that tried to kill SB682 permanently but failed. Even if the fucking power is to, like, yeah, I can kill it, the moment it tries to, it's like, yeah, I can't. And it's noticeably thicker, with 209 individual pages that detail an epic battle between the two monsters. Additional attempts to coax SB682 into SCP-826 have been met with non-compliance on SB682's part. Wow. It literally was an SCP that says that it's like I'm the only thing that can kill SCP-682, and it didn't work. It is definitely impossible to destroy so far. The expunge of fine or very fine is no longer to be used on any person having contact with SCP-682 at the point in addition, any objects that have come in contact with SCP-682 at one point are not allowed to be processed by SCP-914. Any attempt to subvert this directive is expunged. Note that SCP-682 is too large to fit into the booths in most forms. In addition, the tissue tests have shown that SCP-682 has unpredictable reaction to SB-914. Finally, SB-914 is too valuable a research tool and too delicate for this type of test. It was nearly damaged after the incident CN 682-119857 and data expunged, but be repeated. Should the results be recovered, data expunged. Note: does this really surprise anyone given what 914 does to normal organics, Dr. Blank? 272 is an old iron nail. Is an ancient iron with a rare mysterious engraving. When the nail is dropped onto a top of shadow will bury itself in the void of the shadow. Shadow down, essentially having you can only move it. Keeps the shadow cast. Okay, so but it's not really terminating. It's just keeping him locked in place. SB682 is released into enclosure amidst a circular area of 32,000 watts stadium lights, of which only one is switched on. SB272 is dropped onto SB682's shadow and embeds itself in the reinforced concrete as expected. SB682 quickly discovered that it trapped by SB272's presence in shadow and starts to attack SB272. SB682 then stops midway through its attack, examines 272 closely, bellows an incomprehensible string of words, and slowly backs away from 272. All 30 stadium lights are then switched on and off in random stroboscopic disco pattern at 4 Hz. SB682 is supposedly hurled around the enclosure in random direction in accordance with the stroboscopic pattern and sustains heavy damage. Because the nail is in the shadow, and wherever the shadow pops up. So it's they're literally doing the Freddy vs. Jason ping pong, pinball thing where like Freddy was like ha ha ha, and Jason was like all over the room. After 55 minutes of process, bigger than 95% of SB682's epidermis has been abraded away. Its anterior left limb has been severed. 63, its teeth has been broken out of its jaw, and its skull has been fractured to the point that both its eyeballs have been dislodged from the sockets. At this point, SB682's exposed subdermal tissue begins to luminesce. Luminescence rapidly increases until it's brighter than the stadium lights, which eliminates SB682's shadow entirely. SB682 then collapses and is no longer affected by the stroboscopic pattern. SB682 continues luminescing for 48 hours, remaining immobile for the duration. D-class personnel who covered SB272 from the enclosure were not attacked but sustained permanent retinal damage from SB682's luminescence despite wearing eye shields. After 48 hours, SB682 assumes normal activity. Note, how did 682 know not to attack 272? Did it recognize the artifact? Was it able to read the glyphs carved into 272's surface? If 682 is literate, is it vulnerable to textual mimetic kill agents? Suggested methods for a viability study are welcome. Oh my god, there's more incident reports. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm not going. No, I'm not. No. Which one is that one? By the way, 343 is. Yes. Goddamn, now I'm curious. Okay, you know what? These are the last two ones I will read from this section, and then we'll go back to the other ones. I wish to again formally register my objection to this line of experimentation, I said, addressing my comments to the turn back of one Dr. Samet, an up-and-coming new researcher here at the Foundation. He seemed to think that the appropriate methods for advancement within our tasks was to insinuate himself with the overseers. No one likes an ass-kisser. And again, your objections are noted. 963, however, I have the full support of 051 on this matter. SB682 is simply too dangerous. We must try all possible outcomes. I bristled when he called me by a number. Why do they always make the same mistake? Mr. Summit, my name is Dr. Bright. This, and I held out the emerald currently glued to my palm, is SB963. Please refrain from mixing two up, or I will have Grangan shoot you in the foot. No hard feelings, but I'm sure you understand. A small smile crept across my features as I spoke, gesturing to one of my small crew of assistants. Unlike certain other members of the senior staff, I had never actually named the junior staff who had fallen under my wing, but the other staff had taken to call them Lucky Bunch, and seems to have stuck. The name seems to reference the fact that researchers under my care turned to live longer, my own obsession with the games of chance, and quite possibly a dig at my sometimes simian nature. Amusing, I'm sure. Simon glanced uncomfortably at my underling before turning his attention back to me. Nevertheless, I clear my throat. Clear my throat, noting from the corner of the eye as Grangan slipped his hand into his inside coat pocket. Right, we must. Again, I interrupt his speech in an effort to correct the fellow. Dr. Bright, only those who work with me on a regular basis are allowed to drop the title, and you will not be here long enough to work with me on a regular basis, Samuel paled visibly at my words. Is that a threat? He questioned, anger in his voice. No, merely good odds. You see, this ridiculous undertaking of yours has little to no chance of succeeding. The odds are, I glanced sideways where my primary assistant already had the book out and waiting. English has been working for me too long enough to anticipate my needs. A quick glance at the numbers was all I need to refresh my memories. 512 to 1 against this first plan of yours working. In fact, the only one who seems to have put any money on this working is, I paused to recheck the numbers, a dead man. Very funny. It doesn't matter. 343 will not. Dr. Bright, I do not need your negative attitude or your predictions of doom. What I need you to do is go in there and ask your fellow SP to assist us in this manner. Will you or won't you do your assigned job? The cracks had begun to show in Sammy's armor. Not someone who would last long. I had money on him leaving within the week. But for this situation, he technically barely outranked me, so I would do it. Of course. I know in my head, steeled myself and walked through the door into 343's domicile. Just being in his presence set my teeth on edge. The feeling of calm and contentment attempted to flow into me, but I resisted. It's hard to be gloomy when the world is trying to make you happy. But I've had long years of practice, especially with him. I think the bit that most disturbs me about 343 is how, no matter what I try, no matter how much I tell myself it's a trick, he always looks like George Burns to me. Cigar in one hand, martini in another. He says it's to put me at ease, but nothing about this creature puts me at ease. He's too much, he tries too hard. Jack! Well, what kind of words do I want to give God? Jack, he said to me, sad eyes watching as I entered the room. I'm glad to see you back. Are you ready to talk some more? SB343, you have been held by the Foundation for several years now and have yet to prove yourself worth the effort. I ignored his question. Therefore, it has been determined that you used to attempt the commissioning of a more dangerous SCP. Do you understand? You know, Jack, I had such high hopes for you. You were created so bright, so gifted. There were plans, still are plans for you to do great things. But you need to get out of here. They're destroying you, Jack. You used to be such a good boy. He had the mannerism down perfect. Even the gruff George Burns voice, the smoke, even the current look of his room. All designed to make me receptive of him. But I wouldn't have any of it. He was an SCP, a creature, a monster, and by God, he would not make me so easily. You may refer to me as Dr. Bright. No one calls me that anymore. Not for decades. Will you assist in this endeavor, or will I have to impose sanctions upon you? I stared into his eyes, refusing to look away. The longer I held eye contact, the smaller his smile becomes, until there was no trace of it left. He took a deep drag on his cigar, almost but not quite frowning. You have become an abomination, Jack. More monster than human. Bound to do that thing. He gestured at 963, and I could have sworn I felt a tingle. I should remove it from you. Return you to your proper thread. Make you human again. For a moment my thoughts lifted, hope at the thought that I might be rid of the curse, that I might finally die, but no. I clamped down on my emotions, refusing to break eye contact. He would or he wouldn't, but I doubt that he could. No. No. You will do so much more with it. Very well, Jack. I will help you with whatever this is, if you say please. I could tell he thought I wouldn't. That this was beneath me, but I wouldn't have Sam claim I undermined his efforts. 343, please assist us. His eyebrow raised a fraction of an inch, but I saw I had surprised him. Good. He needed to be shook up a little bit. Very well. Later, I stood in the observation booth, watching 343 in the containment room below. He had not asked what he was to do and gave every indication that whatever it was, he would deal with it. So I had chosen not to tell him what he was dealing with. Let God do what he will. Dr. Samet stood smugly at my side, gloating without saying a word. He believed he had won the argument, and I felt no need to disabuse him of that notion. This would still be a failure. 343 did not have that what it took to take care of 682. Are you prepared, 343? Samet spoke in the microphone below us. 343 gave a thumbs up. Without any further ado, Dr. Samet pressed the button on the console and the airlock cycled open, releasing 682. The reptile rolled into the room, charged straight through the center to throw itself against the doors outside. It had escaped often enough to know the drill and the most likely chance of escape. The only surprising event would be the fact that in so doing it charged straight through 343 without seeming to touch him at all. 343 for this part continued to stare at the open airlock door expectantly. He glanced from the door up to us and then back at the door before speaking out. Well, are you going to send this thing out or should I head in? I smiled to myself, watching as 682 continued to its assault upon the second airlock. With a smirk of my own, I took the microphone from the slack hands of Dr. Samet. Close your mouth, you get flies, I advised my fellow researcher before addressing 343. 343, am I correct to understand that you see nothing in the room with you? 343 turned in a circle, eyeing the room before looking up towards me once more. There's nothing in the room with me, Jack. Are you feeling alright? With a grin firmly planted on my face, I turned to Samet. 682 not neutralized, as predicted. 682, 343 called out, a brief flash of anger in his eyes. Between one moment and the next, he is standing in front of me, somehow taller than me without changing the size, glaring down at me. You brought me to 682. I motioned behind his back at English, who quickly began the 682 containment procedures, flooding the room with acid. Sure did. 343 got a problem with that? Anger from God. With luck, he'd off me, and I wouldn't have to go through with the second part of this test. Instead, 343 simply turned his back on me. He's not one of mine. Deal with him yourself, and stalked off through the wall. Dr. Samet, having regained his composure, turned to me with a snarl. Fine, it didn't work. Doesn't matter. Get yourself ready. 963, you're going in. I nodded to Grangan as I turned away to change bodies. The last thing I heard on the door slid shut behind me was the pleasant sound of the handgun going off in the close quarters. One of them shot him because he named him by he named Dr. Bright by the SCP number, even though he's not an SCP. That is nice. Hey, an order is an order. He did say, like, if you do it one more time, he's gonna get shot. And so, Dr. Hammond continued from his wheelchair. His rifle was still in a cast after that terrible accidental firearm discharge. Accidental. We must now proceed with the application of... He stopped, staring at Dr. Bright in some kind of horror. What is that? Bright smiled calmly as his assistants continued to aid him in the final calibration. Laying on the table before him in pieces at the moment were the 3 pieces of rather ugly-looking metal staff. Wires and cables trailed off at odd angles and continued to look more bizarre the more the lucky bunch filled with it. It's a staff, Samet. I can see that much. 963, the doctor without a clue snarled. But why do you have it here? Firmly grasping his now assembled staff, Bright turned on Samet with a scowl. My name is Dr. Bright, and this is to attract 682's attention. How were you planning on getting SCP-963 onto 682? Well, a launcher and exactly. With this prototype, I shall endeavor to anger it to the point with which it comes from me. From there, it will be child's play to get 963 inside it. Samet not. Of course, 963. But what does it do? Some people never learn, and other people continue to insult a vengeful immortal who holds no regard for human life. The really stupid people feed Bright straight lines. This, he raised the cane to the point in a vague Samet direction. He raised the cane to the point in a vaguely Samet direct. I don't understand this sentence. And pressed a button. Immediately, a purplish arc of electricity arched through the ground, grounding itself in Sam's injured foot. The doctor screamed desperately, rolling his wheelchair backwards, even as the bandages caught fire. Dr. Samet, it appears if you had some sort of metal in your cast. Wonder how that happened. But the bullet's still in it. As Samet and Lakis hurried to put their boss out, Brad turned to Dr. Light and... okay. And Light nodded, alright, Sophia, we know what we're doing. What are the current odds? Dr. Light checked her clipboard, frowning. 2 to 1, it doesn't work. 5 to 1, you get in it and rampage across the side. Side bet on that one. Even odds are that you use said rampage to kill Samet over there. 10 to 1 says something goes wrong and gets stuck inside 682. 20 to 1 odds say that this goes bottoms up and we all end up as you somehow. I like those odds. 963. Samet yelled at his foot small. You, Dr. Samet, understand this. Bright stalked over the tower of our researchers. I'm about to be put in the most dangerous SCP we ever discovered. I will offer you this deal then. If you cover your feet in barbecue sauce, I will stomp at them. And with that, Bright turned and stalked down the staging floor. Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard to just call him Dr. Bright. It's really not that hard. Jack Bright awoke with a headache. His memory is fuzzy. There had been something, barbecue sauce, maybe, no, something else. Oh yes, the memories came flowing back to him. Him standing there with his staff, the beast charging, lightning and teeth, blood and pain, and the horrible, indescribable feeling as he jumped posts. But now, things went right. He could feel cold. How long is this, by the way? It's not that long, okay. He could feel cold. I'm going to read a bit faster now because we really need to get ahead. Cold stone beneath his back, which implied that he was lying down and he could hear other people moving around him. So there was a good chance he was still in the foundation. And there was always a barbecue sauce. Wait, what? Jack? We really need you right now, sir. A familiar voice called from above. Slowly, Jack opened his eyes. His face fixed in a preemptive frown. Standing over him in a rather strange-looking chainmail. Hauberk was a familiar-looking Mexican man. Something about him. I know you don't I? The other man leaned down, helping Jack to his feet. Not really, sir. Please, you have come with me. His grip on Jack's arm was firm, his other hands holding firmly to a long staff. Jack stopped suddenly, watching the other people move past. All of them were dressed the same, a chainmail hauberk with gold rings in a circle, all the hearts surrounding a ring of red rings. All of them held the same staff. You're D113, you're the first, aren't you? Jack couldn't help but stare. It had been a long time since that first one. Well, the answer to that is yes and no, and yes, but not really. Right, we do it your way, stupidly blunt. You see, sir, none of this is real. As he gestured at the cats, also the people around him. Well, duh, credited me with a little sense. Oh, okay, right, that makes sense. That makes things easier. See, in your mind, it isn't ready for this. It can't really deal with how 682 sees things. So it came up with this as a defense. Only it's not just your mind. 963 is involved, and somehow bits and pieces have the leftovers of those you've taken over being animated to help. Only it's still part of you. Does that make sense? Not even a little bit. As they push through a great wooden door, but I do understand where you're coming from. Jack said, opposite of the sky for once without a voice. Above him was the thing. The creature was in our limited scope called SB682, and it was glorious. A beautiful, nightmarish, disturbing, yet intriguing creature spread across the sky, the ground, the horizon, held everything that wasn't Jack and his castle, barbecue sauce. Well then, whew, Jack frowned more deeply as several armored people suddenly ran up beside him. Even the old man was there, although he shouldn't have been. He could feel the impact lessen even as they stood there. Right. Shaving the load, got it. He wrenched his eyes away from the thing, turning to his own ramparts. A twisted, mangled castle that Escher would be proud of loomed above and below him, and from every corner, pieces of him stood, staff in hand, striking out against the barbecue sauce creature. Purple lightning arched here and there, playing across the surface of the beast, carving inroads, yoking to its command. We're stuck, aren't we? Encaged, sir. Have to figure out a way to get out. We have some barbecue sauce to serve up. Pardon? Figure of speech. Look, I need bright reactors memories, or so many of them. The answer would be there somewhere, and it was there, standing in front of him. Researcher class Damon Smith, promoted to Dr. Bright in the line of duty. Damon had always had a fear of being enclosed, and that would get them out of here. Come on, Damon. Come on, Damon. Take that staff and link up. Remember how it feels to be in small spaces, locked in. No one to hear you. How to get out. The apparition before Jack raised its staff as its limbs trembled in fear. A line of energy lashed out from the staff, scoring a long line in the creature above them, and began to change. From the inside, the effects were hard to tell, but everyone there could feel it. Something different was happening. The dragon was moving. Jack couldn't help but laugh. "Barbecue sauce!" he called out, one of the absolute worst battle cries ever spoken. He wrenched the staff from Damon's hand, not even noticing as he pushed the poor researcher over the edge, not caring as the mouth of the beast snapped up the helpless researcher. Lines of energy and mental projection of Jack's control over 682 lashed out in force from the castle construct. He could feel that he was doing his will, doing what he was told to do it. He knew some part of his brain was actually inside the creature, controlling it, seeing through its eyes, but he also knew he could never hope to understand how it saw the world. So down here, he fought a pitch black, using metaphor and simile to act in his stead. But it wasn't to last. Even as he found himself filled with the knowledge that he had done what he wanted to do, the dragon fought back. Its ferocious claws ripped into the castle's shattering walls. Its foul breath played along the walls, sending body form reeling, tumbling back to the safety of 963. Jack knew he could not last. With the last of his mental will, he set the creature back, commanded it to return, and then he too retreated to the safety of his nightmares. Bright could feel the soft texture of the bed beneath him, cotton sheets from the feel of it, so not his own bed. This thin mattress, the smell of disinfectant, the leather straps on his wrists, neck, and chest and feet. Yes, he must be medical. Subject is waking up, overseer. Bright opened his eyes slowly, aware of the feel of cold metal pressed against his temple. His eyes flickered first to the figure holding the gun, one of the overseer's goon squad, none of them actually worth remembering, then to the sound of the voice, the lovely Dr. Light doing her medical duties, finally to the last remaining space by his bed, filled with the monitor screen on which a black outline of a person could be seen. A mechanical voice, carefully filtered to remove any identifying marker, spoke to him. "Please identify yourself." With or without identifying markers, Bright still knew who was behind the outline. Dr. Jack Bright, level 5 researcher, personal director of far too many sites, yada yada yada. "Who is your sister?" The voice continued. Bright knew it was the question that needed to be asked to make sure he was himself. "Claire Pierce, and in answer to your next 3 questions, 31, 20, 35, the Ebola virus and purple monkey dishwasher." Identity confirmed. Dr. Bright, what is your last memory? Bright thought hard for a long time and spoke. "I was going up against 682, wasn't I? Yeah, I had the staff and everything. Guess he didn't snap. I guess he didn't snap up 963, huh?" Dr. Bright's SCP-963 was in contact with SCP-682 for the better part of a week. For the first 36 hours, SCP-682 remained in a comatose state. Shortly thereafter, it proceeded to grow large claws and tunnel its way through its containment, causing a massive breach. Incredibly, SCP-682 only injured one researcher and then allowed itself to be meekly shepherded back to its containment. 682 paced its room for another 24 hours, at which point it again went comatose. 10 hours ago, SCP-963 was excreted from SCP-682's burrow. A team retrieved it and immediately placed it upon the body you now wear. You have not stirred sense. Can you add anything to this? Sorry, 6, I got nothing. Although Bright frowned and licked his lips. Why do I taste barbecue sauce? Someplace else entirely, the dragon curled around its newest acquisition, such a tiny little man thing. It had never thought that the foul creature could possibly teach it anything, but one of them had. The beast circled around the memories of Damon Smith, absorbed them, made them its own, and in learning how to fear, it added one more tool to its vast arsenal, one more way that it could change itself, and finally eliminate the scourge. The scourge is called man, and then this one is not there. Okay, I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave it now. Like I said, I'm gonna read it for myself, but I will put it incredibly high in my list because it's super dope already. There's so much detail, and I'm pretty sure really going on with this, there will be a lot more to see and read about this SCP that will make me go like, man, this is awesome. Like, I really love when they go crazy with experiments, because that's just one of the coffee machine was also like one of those that was just went just nuts. Or the guy who was able to like teleport between different realities. It makes it also easier to like keep it in memory, because it's just such a long read that you're forced to memorize it. Okay, now we have to hurry up a little bit because it's almost midnight, and as I said, 1 in the morning I want to go to bed. Refrigerator odd. Euclid SCP-683 is to be kept in a standard 8x8x5 meter research bay equipped with a portable gas-powered generator. SCP-683 itself to be covered with a suitable large opaque drop cloth to prevent inadvertent visual contact when not involved in active research. Research bay door should meet level 2 hazard control rating. Steel door, reinforced hinges, SC passports, keycard, active manual override, but without a standard observation window. Reader surveillance is restricted to this exterior door until testing is approved for recorded viewing of SCP-683. No guards should be posted unless approved by level 3 or higher. Administrative staff to prevent possible inadvertent visual contact. No food or drink is permitted within 20 meters of the containment area. SCP-683 is currently held in research by Signy Bar 4 at Site 19 under these conditions. SCP-683 consists of 2 objects, -1, -2. When it's on I'm sorry I'm reading a bit fast, but I really need to like gotta go fast. When its unique properties are activated, it will produce samples of -3. -1 is a white 1953 Crossley Shelter brand refrigerator showing moderate external wear. Internally, -1 appears clean and well maintained regardless of contents. Results of testing procedures of delivered attempts to solid. -1 power code 10 minutes in an unknown plug configuration has proven incompatible with modern outlets. Foundation electrical engineers have constructed an adapter inventory control code 19LS 683-7, allowing -1 to run via standard gas-powered home generator, which is used for all testing. When supplied with electrical power, -1 functions adequately as a refrigerator unit. -1 unusual properties will function with or without electrical power, but when the power is provided, instances of -3 produced do not appear to decay or spoil as long as they are kept within the unit. I have massively dry lips right now. -2 is a child's age approximately between 5 and 7, drawing on standard 8.5 x 11 wide paper, oriented as a landscape and affixed by unknown means to -1 exterior. -2 appears to have been created with a pencil and felt pen, showing evidence of moderate water damage at some point in its past. The drawing depicts a mountainous exterior landscape with an anthropomorphic sun, a house, a well, a dog, various vegetation, and a central figure which appears to be wearing a chef's toque. Any person either uttering disparaging remarks about -2 or attempting to remove it from the surface of -1 begins to incur damage to both internal organs and skin musculature upon ingesting any food items. The damage manifests as the decision of tissue from various locations of the body equal in mass to the food digested. This effect ceases once the victim has ingested 0.52 kilograms worth of food, and an equal amount of tissue has been excised. Though observably painful, tissue is excised seemingly instantaneously following each bite of food, and has yet to strike any internal structure that would cause the death of the subject before the 0.42 kilogram threshold is reached. All subjects have expired within 26 days of excision. Once the 0.42 kilogram excision of tissue is complete, a brown lunch-style paper bag hereafter -3 will appear in the interior of -1. -3 has consistently been labeled with the name Eric, and for some reason it's 066. What is this one again? Used to be an amorphous ball of yarn that was friendly towards personnel after an experiment which a thread was cut from its body. It transformed into a ball of meat with functional eyes. Is now actively hostile, it says Eric, when near a person plays a very loud version of Beethoven's Second Symphony, which causes death and hearing damage. I forgot about this one. Completely forgot about this one. Text appears symmetrically in capital letters printed in black ink. Written style appears consistent with each sample of -3, with each appearance -3 has contained the following. A sandwich consisting of 2 pieces of white bread, crust removed, and 0.21 kilograms of various excised flesh and viscera. DNA analysis has confirmed to be that of the subject who last disparaged or attempted to remove -2. A plastic zip top bag containing 0.21 kilograms of various excised flesh and viscera. The DNA analysis has again confirmed to be that of the subject who last disparaged or attempted to remove -2. A plastic zip top bag containing 3 chocolate chip cookies measuring approximately 9 centimeters in diameter. Testing shows no abnormalities or traces of DNA. A 3x5 note card reading, "Be a good boy today." Ink is black and handwritten is consistent in style with the Eric written on -3's exterior. Following testing, all instances of -3 have been incinerated with no unusual effects. -2 cannot be removed from -1, and all attempts to do so have resulted in activation of SCP-683's unusual properties. Without any attempt to remove it, -2 has been set alight and incinerated via a simple match on 3 occasions, but has returned to the surface of -1 within 68 hours each time. Despite expectation, D-class personnel who performed the incineration were unaffected by SCP-683. If multiple subjects disparage or attempt to remove -2 at one point, only the first subject to do so experiences its effect. No further subject can be affected until production of an instance of -3. Subjects who fast following removal attempt or disparaging of -2 are unaffected until they attempt to ingest food. To date, 2 subjects have starved themselves to death without suffering any effect from SCP-683. Subjects fed intravenously following removal attempts or disparaging of -2 have been affected as if they were consuming solid foods. SCP-683 was discovered in a storage unit adjacent to the home of one Yolanda Blank of Blank, Washington, a collector of vintage refrigerators and furnishing. Miss Blank claims to have simply found SCP-683 unattended on a street corner in late July 19 blank. Her nephew, who reportedly helped her move the item, died 2 weeks following the move. COD on cert listed as complication from hernia. The item was brought to the Foundation attention with an appraiser occasionally under contract with the Foundation through front agency sentiments of Century Past Lieutenant. Century Past something, I forgot what that means. Became a victim of SCP-683's effect with evaluating Miss Blank's find. When asked why she never attempted to remove -2, Miss Blank replied, "It's a nice little picture, isn't it? Why take it down?" Ooh. Never. I'm so sorry I'm rushing all this, but yeah, I just need to hurry. I just need to do this quickly. The care taken. Euclid. As SCP-684 is too large and massive to relocate, much less fully contained in any orthodox sense, hotbox procedures are in effect. If SCP-684 is judged to have expanded beyond the coordinates redacted, containment is said to have failed, and hotbox boards are to enact a standard deterrent methodologies. What does it say here? Come on. There have been some in the Foundation that have expressed a belief that given SCP-684 has not grown in size or mass since discovery, hotbox procedures are a waste of resources. Matt, you still there? No staff living on the surface of SCP-684 are allowed to know the true nature of SCP-684. This specific file is not to reach any observation post studying SCP-684. SCP-684 is a massive object assumed to be a living creature found on the seafloor of the Indian Ocean. It is irregular in shape. With a center of its... What is this one called again? The Caretaken. Yeah, okay. Of the Indian Ocean it is irregular in shape with the center of its mass located in approximately blank from the center mass. SCP-684 extends approximately 70 kilometers outward. Okay. Maintaining an average height above seafloor of 12 meters. The outward skin of SCP-684 is dark brown with a rough, grainy texture that is a slight give when pressure is applied to its surface. From time to time, a small section of SCP-684's surface will dimly glow a faint blue, yellow, or pink hue. These lights tend to move in the direction of SCP-684's center mass, or the 6 slowly pulsating sphincters that are believed to be mouth analogs. God, I can't believe I've been reading for 2 hours almost. I would be reading for longer if I read this whole entire thing here. Jesus. Upon discovery of SCP-684 in 19 Blank Foundation, the Foundation attempted to place a prefabricated research outpost near SCP-684 to the ocean currents. The post landed on the surface of SCP-684 instead. As the outpost structure was undamaged by said misplacement, all 5 Blank authorized a deployment of researcher Blank to the post, later dubbed Station Alpha. 3 days later, Station Alpha was seen via long-range underwater video being enveloped and destroyed by a localized undulation of SCP-684's mass when a recovery mission arrived 24 hours later. Station Alpha was found completely intact when entered. Researcher Blank was interviewed as having no memory of any SCP-684's disturbance, although expressing slight annoyance that Station Alpha hadn't yet gotten that rover I was promised. Oh, okay, now I get it. When questioned, Blank offered up a Foundation printout citing orders to use an underwater rover to push animals' carcasses to SCP-684's sphincters. Off-site analysis of both researcher Blank and section of Station Alpha was discovered to be elaborate copies of the original selves. During this off-site analysis, Station Alpha was seen regrowing, complete with another copy of researcher Blank. This new copy had no memory of the early copies' actions or memories. It is currently theorized that SCP-684 assimilates and reproduces stations and the crew for tasks related to its survival and self-maintenance. Each station is capable of issuing orders to its pseudo-crew in ways that mimic the originals, so that all assimilated crew members treat the orders as legitimate. Double-blind experiments have conducted that without tools to detect the chemical differences. All individuals reported that SCP-684-based documents had no identifying traits within it or forgery. These orders are phrased in such a way that the crew believes in action are intended to contain SCP-684, leading to no doubts among the assimilated crew that anything is amiss. It would seem that SCP-684 deliberately takes the effort to ensure that station crew, despite being fabricated, are kept in good mental and physical health, ignorant about the true nature or purpose. To test and confirm that hypothesis, the Foundation has placed 4 more prefabricated stations on the surface of SCP-684. In short order, each of these stations and the crew listed below have all been assimilated and refabricated by SCP-684. Each one does not know about the others. The designation are exclusively for the Foundation use. Station, Addendum 1, stations. Below are the location and duties of all 5 stations currently placed on SCP-684. For ease of understanding, false order tasks is a brief synopsis of the actions each station believes the Foundation has ordered them to do in order to contain SCP-684, or at least keep in a stable state. An assumed actual role is what the Foundation believes the station actually role to SCP-684 is. Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Iota, Crew 612, data redacted 424. False order task: push corrupted sea life carcasses to extraplanar disposal facility SCP-684. Assumed actual role: transport of carcasses to mouths of SCP-684. False order task: contain and destroy toxic non-Newtonian fluid emanating from SCP-684. Assumed actual role: waste removal, hygiene, data redacted, immune system, scouting and marking suitable locations for new SCP-684 observation posts. Interestingly, Delta Station is the only station in which the memories of the pseudo-staff are adjusted in real time. Once all marked locations are growing, -1, all staff members immediately forget ever having been out before. Also, despite not knowing the existence of other stations on SCP-684, the other crews have never scouted areas where they would be detected by other stations. Denmark creating -1 growing location, collecting and ship -1 disable 1. Unofficial title for the nearest Central Foundation facility located in data expunged. Unknown potential benefit and reward for caretaking SCP-684. Station Iota is currently the least understood station owing to its task of harvesting Dash 1. Dash 1 takes the shape of small 2 cm to 8 cm spheres of varying color, which fall off the skin of SCP-684. Any given nodule reaches full size in 3 weeks, remaining attached for a week before disconnecting from SCP-684 and being carried off by the ocean currents. Dash 1 has been seen as a supplementary source of nutrition for the entire food pyramid surrounding SCP-684. Examination of sea life that consistently feeds on Dash 1 shows increases in size, general health, and overall increased fitness. Human consumption of Dash 1 has not yet been approved, but many Foundation researchers believe that SCP-684 grows Dash 1 in a way of recompense for absorbing and refabricating its caretakers. Under the photograph of Dash 1, size of spheres reflect approximately 1 week of growth. A sample of SCP-684 surface can also be seen. Those look nice. Looks pretty nice. Introducing communication. Communication requested by researcher J blank H blank copy 9 station Delta. Respondent Dr. blank stable 1. A tier in H blank's diving suit doing an exploratory survey has left it suffering from headaches and nausea. It has requested transfer away from SCP-684 for medical treatment. H blank, old friend, we sent you down there because you kept injuring yourself on dry land. Now you want to go back? We just took down all the paddling on side blank. Keep it up. Well, when the hell am I going out of here? I hate being cooped up when the rest of the crew is out there. Only 2 minutes. 2 minutes or so. I was supposed to tell you when you were sent down to the submersible a few hours ago, but I guess it just sort of slipped my mind. Asshole. God. I didn't even have time to back. Remind me to beat you once the dogs fix me up, okay? There's the sound of a submersible docking in the background. See you in 2 hours or so, Ted. Station Alpha out. Video records show H blank dash 9 walking slowly to the docking platform, which opens in front of him. As the door begins to close, the walls of the enclosure dissolve into SCP-684 around H blank dash 9, who is seen struggling as the doors finish closing. All of H blank dash 9's personnel effect are dissolved and absorbed into the walls of Station Delta. 3 minutes later, the docking platform doors open and H dash 10 steps out, carrying his personal belongings. Later on, other crewmen on Delta greet him warmly. Transmission 684 AC 48-1. Communication requested by maintenance crewman A blank Z blank copy 48 Station Alpha. Responded redacted forward. Z blank would on a monthly basis use his personal call allotment. This is the one anomalous call. Hello? Hi, I'm sorry, this wasn't the voice I was expecting. Who is this? This is the redacted resident. Who wants to know? I'm A blank, Pete. You better tell me who you are, because I was expecting redacted my wife. You fucking asshole. Do you think you get your rocks off calling people and asking for someone's dead parents? Asshole, thought that was fun thing to do after my dad died a few years back, and the day after I buried my fucking mom. You fucking asked for her? You fucking piece of shit. Disconnecting noise. What the fuck just happened? After this exchange, crewman Z is seen looking at the photo of a woman and redacted for 2 hours. Getting up from his chair, he proceeds to walk over to the airlock and open it, flooding the entire station. The entire station and all crews are dissolved and rebuilt over the course of 6 hours. It is not currently understood why SCP-684 made a direct contact with redacted. Each previous iteration of crewman Z blank made such contact attempts, but it is the only recorded time in which SCP-684 did not generate the communication response. At the risk of anthropomorphizing SCP-684, we may conclude that it simply made a mistake. Wow. Wow. Emotional. Just for eternally recycled, remade. Okay, next one needs to be shorter. Thank you, this is better. Because we're 6 minutes past midnight. Non-Bottomless Pit. So, floor. Just floor. I don't know. As SCP-685 is a geological feature, it is unable to be moved from its current location. A 20-kilometer radius around SCP-685 designated Research Site 85 is to be kept clear of all non-indigenous or non-Foundation personnel. In addition to on-site personnel, SCP-685 is to be monitored remotely via satellite from Command Blank. Non-biological objects are to be autoclaved or immersed in 10% bleach solution for 30 minutes before being removed from the site. All other objects are to be kept under BSL-3 conditions for no less than 6 months. Personnel rotating off duty at Site 85 will be quarantined for 1 month and subject to weekly physical examination for the next 2 months afterwards. Charges of C4 are to be placed every blank meter around the circumference of SCP-685 to be armed and detonated in the event of an incoming hostile object. Oh wait, oh shit. Things come out of that thing? That's not. Should any hostile object survive the explosion, it is to be engaged by the current on-site mobile task force. Containment by means of nuclear missile launch from Blank is to be used as a last resort. SCP-685 is a large pit located in a remote mountain region of Blank, located at Blank S, south, Blank East. It is roughly circular with a mean diameter of 33.5 meters and appears to be a natural opening in the Earth's crust, with no signs of excavation. Roughly once every 2 to 5 hours, objects are observed rising out of the pit, passing at the height of +2 meters relative to the rim of the pit before descending back into SCP-685. In the blank years that SCP-685 has been under observation, no object dropped into the hole has emerged from it again. Descending into the pit presents a danger to any explorer as the objects have progressively higher velocities. The deeper they are observed in the pit, despite the impossibility of this behavior, is consistent with the objects accelerated solely by gravity through an airless corridor crossing the Earth's extent. However, an investigation of area within a 10-kilometer radius of the site opposite SCP-685 revealed no topological anomalies, so even if the pit does descend past the Earth's crust, it does not emerge on the other side. The hole itself is under constant video surveillance. A list of objects dropped or released into the hole since observation began can be found in document 685-B. Since June, all objects greater than 10 centimeters in diameter emerging from SCP-685 have been tracked by a high-sensitive radar system caught by an automated robotic arm suspended over the pit and placed in containers for study by on-site staff. Specimens cataloged in this manner include 34% rock debris of indeterminate origin, 31% rock debris from around the site, 27% organic debris, 7% data expunged. The organic debris free from the pit usually consists of data expunged. A full listing of all objects observed emerging from SCP-685 are listed in document Z. Those cataloged by the automated system are cross-listed in document Z-1. Additionally, a catwalk is occasionally extended across the pit to gather smaller objects which emerge from SCP-685. A report of the composition of the debris may be viewed by level 3 or higher personnel in documents D. All objects retrieved from the pit and deemed not to merit further study are returned to the pit. Human exploration SCP-685 has been limited to the lighted portion of the hole to reduce the incidence of injuries from collision with objects emerging from the pit. These limited service studies have detected no deviation in the wall of the pit from known local geographic strata. In 19 blank, a Class D personnel was lowered to a depth of 1.75 kilometers before being incapacitated and retrieved. Before contact was lost, subject reported that the temperature remained approximately the same for the entire descent past 30 meters, and that the pit slowly widened the farther down it went. This was subsequently confirmed by an unmanned observation probe lowered on blank November 2000 blank, which was lowered to the depths of 9.45 kilometers before being pulverized. It recorded a constant temperature of 12.1 degrees Celsius for the entire descent, and the probe laser rangefinder detected an increase of 0.92 meters per 100 meters descended. Due to the likelihood that further exploration using similar methods will not be able to progress further, and that reinforced probes are unlikely to add significantly to the data known about SCP-685, further exploration of the pit is discontinued as of blank 2000 blank. Note, SCP-685 is not a disposal pit. We don't know where it goes. We don't need to be telling anyone on the other end that we're here. We won't need our garbage boomeranging back at us years from now. Dr. Roger. Document D. An analysis of all rock debris obtained from SCP-685 revealed no anomalies and is consistent with terrestrial origin. Analysis of the organic debris revealed that while DNA was unable to be isolated from any sample, in a roughly 63% of the samples obtained, mass spectroscopy detected the persuasive presence of blank non-canonical amino acids, including data expunged. Only a handful of known terrestrial organisms use non-canonical amino acids, and of those, each one uses one. Petri dishes with media incorporating the non-canonical amino acids was used to grow cultures taken from all objects retrieved from the pit. Organisms cultured exhibit data expunged and are resistant to all known antibiotics. To date, none have been found that survive autoclaving or incineration. Additionally, carbon-14 dating of the organic debris exhibiting terrestrially normal amino acid composition revealed that none of the debris is less than 35 years old. This is unsurprising in light of the desiccating hexapod corpse observed on blank February blank before the construction of the automated retrieval system. Kind of reminds me of the way to like in Godzilla vs. King Kong, there was like this pit. Well, not a pit, like a path to like a world inside the earth where all these like titans, as they call it, come out from. I'm glad that this is shorter. What is this one? Infectious lactation. Safe. Samples of SCP-686 are to be stored under standard protocols for Class 2 biohazardous liquids in G2 facilities. SCP-686 is infectious but not virulent. Oh yeah, but yeah, basically that reminds me of that, because the moment they fell to that new world, gravity shifted, and then like if you fell down, you would like go back up basically. But you couldn't fall back to your Earth. Like you had to fly up with like a machine. You can only afflict a new host when taken orally. It's not motile or otherwise active. The infectious agent mechanism of operation is not known. SCP-686 does not contain appreciable amounts of nucleic acids, and prion activity is not apparent. Due to the large quantities of SCP-686 that are being produced by various test subjects, the principal requirement for this substance is not so much containment as it is disposal. While pasteurizing has proven completely effective at sterilizing the infectious agent, whatever its nature, it is recommended that all unneeded stocks of SCP-686 should be incinerated. Human consumption is not recommended by anyone other than designated test subject. SCP-686 is an opaque white liquid consisting of a suspension of lipids and proteins that is indistinguishable from ordinary high-grade dairy milk, without detailed analysis. At a biochemical level, there are certain subtle differences. The protein content is much more complex, with most of the peptides so far proving difficult to sequence, and it contains a richer blend of vitamins and minerals than is typical of cow's milk. SCP-686 was first isolated from cattle at a small-scale commercial dairy farm near Blank. Records indicate that the farm herd began increasing its milk output and quality to unusually high levels approximately 2 years before the infection managed to make the jump to the farm's human workers, and the Foundation became involved. It is not known with a certainty whether this farm is where SCP-686 originated, or if it came in from some other source and was simply first recognized there. The infection increases the hostile lactation rate, or if the host is not lactating, causes it to begin doing so. It appears that any mammal is susceptible to infection regardless of gender. The initial symptoms of the disease have a rapid onset but are relatively minor: swelling of mammary gland tissues causing breast development in males, and increased sensitivity of the nipples in both males and females. On average, a human of either gender in this stage of the disease will produce between 0.5 and 1 liter of milk per day. Well, that's a lot. If this milk is extracted on a regular basis with milking intervals of no less than once every 8 hours, the disease appears to remain stable indefinitely in this state. Milking can be performed with a standard breast pump. If a host is not milked adequately, mammary glands continue to develop. Left unchecked, this development will diverge from normal human growth patterns rather than remaining confined to a single pair of breasts. It will begin spreading down the front of the chest and the abdomen. Additionally, pairs of nipples will develop along the way, and the nipples will lengthen and thicken dramatically. So basically, you become a cow. The eventual result resembles an enormous fleshy udder stretching along the entire front of the torso, with between 6 and 8 pairs of teeth. A human at this stage can produce upwards of 40 liters of milk per day. This is the maximum extent to which the disease will progress in humans. The metabolic demands of such a large and productive glandular system are considerable, and a human victim in this state will find him or herself preoccupied with eating most of the time. With his or her energy fully devoted to milk production, the victim will often suffer from a general state of mental dullness and docility. Surgical removal of the mammary tissue is a temporary measure, as the disease is able to cause regrowth even if all of it is excised. Ugh. You become a human cow, basically. That is, Oof. Damn. That was a scary thought. But it's kind of hilarious. Just, all you gotta do is just sit, eat, and pump out milk. I think we can get this done before 1 in the morning. Noir. Safe. SCP-687 is to be kept in a secure room at Site 15. The room is to contain... There's a lot of good rating ones here. I mean, there's a lot of good SCPs. The only one that's so far I struggled a bit to understand was 684, but that's because I'm trying to rush through it. I'm not really paying much attention, but I'm understanding the gist of it. The room is to contain a desk with locking drawers, a standard office chair, and a 12 analog color television, as well as equipment to record any remotely monitored testing of SCP-687. When not being actively tested, Dash 1 is to be powered down and disconnected from its power source, and Dash 3 is to be kept in an anti-static envelope and locked in the top drawer of the desk supporting Dash 1, Dash 2, and Dash 2. Dash 2 should remain attached to Dash 1 to prevent wear on the connected hardware. When being tested in Dash 1, Dash 2 are to be plugged into one standard blank UPS uninterruptible power supply that is connected to the facility power grid. UPS will be replaced after each 100 hours of use. Under no circumstances are Class D personnel to be used for testing SCP-687. Oh, that's down here. Duh. Okay. Testing is permitted by personnel with clearance 3 or above with written approval by the site director. Dash 1 is a Commodore 64. Oh. Commodore 64 computer built in 1980 blank, serial number S000 blank. Non-invasive examination of the hardware confirms that it has not been obviously modified and all parts appear to be from the original manufacturer. Dash 2 is a Commodore 1541 5.25 disk drive built the same year as Dash 1, serial number that. As with Dash 1, all parts appear original and not obviously modified. If an attempt is made to turn on Dash 2 when it is disconnected or connected to any computer other than Dash 1, it will fail to operate. When Dash 2 is connected to Dash 1, both units perform to the manufacturer's specification, except when loading Dash 3 specifics as specified below. Dash 3 is a 5.25 floppy disk without manufacturer markings. Affixed to the disk is a handwritten label with the word documents in block capitals. Attempts to read the disk with any drive other than Dash 2 results in severe read errors and potential damage to the hardware. Passive scans using redacted, inconclusive, and produce conflicting data. When Dash 2 is connected to Dash 1, Dash 3 can be loaded into the drive and read like any normal disks. Only one file, Noir, is visible to the operating system. This file can be executed by typing load Noir comma 8, comma 1. When loading and running the Noir program, the heat output of both -1 and -2 increases by 400%, and power consumption will double. Any testing equipment attached to ports of the computer or drive will experience severe and random voltage spiking. These anomalies do not appear to impact the performance or cause any damage to -1 or -2. Once the Noir program is loaded, the user is presented with a short graphic stating, "Cracked by the Time Lords." After approximately 1 minute, a title screen appears. The title screen reads, "Noir, a hard-boiled adventure by Blank Games, copyright 1980 blank." There is no record of Blank Games releasing a game with this title. Pressing the space bar will launch the game. Noir appears to have a text-based adventure game similar to many other games released about the same time. However, the parser appears to be able to comprehend any intelligible English command, even with some words misspelled. In addition, there seems to be no functional limits to the game's territories, and it will respond to queries about its environment in detail. Beyond that, what we should be possible given the data storage limitation of the hardware. Running the game. The setting of the game will also change based on who is playing. A new player will be placed in a new random environment, where a returning player will be placed at whatever point their player ceased playing last. All initial environments so far presented by the game have been within urban areas within the United States between the years 1923 and 1942. By using commands look at self and inventory, it has been confirmed that the player in-game avatar matches the appearance and dress the player had when starting the game. The player in-game avatar will also possess whatever objects or equipment the player had on the person when starting the game. The game is free form and gives no obvious clues about how to win. However, it does keep score that prints after every action. The score can go up or down with no indication of an upper or lower bound. High and low scores to date are blank and minus blank. If a player dies in game, the score is set at 0, and any future command typed in by that player during any future game session will be received a response. You cannot do that, you are dead. Game over. No abnormal effects are detectable on a player during gameplay. However, after game session, the next time the player enters a REM sleep state, that they will have an unnaturally vivid dream where they experience the events that occurred during the game. During the dream, the player perceptions are indistinguishable from reality. Extreme cases will show physical manifestation of injuries suffered from within the dream. Examples include one subject who presented with bleeding of the fingernails after dreaming of unsuccessful attempts to escape the trunk of a car driven into the blank river. Another subject who developed severe bruising of the face and strain of the anterior longitudinal ligament after dreaming of being beaten by a hostile police officer, and another subject who presented with partial paralysis after dreaming being a victim of 1929 gangland execution in Chicago garage. Typically, such injuries are transient, even in cases when the dreams end in fatality. However, severe psychological after effects are likely and will tend to be more severe than if the dream trauma had actually happened during a waking state. This is also in large part due to the lack of volition subjects experienced in a dream and the foreknowledge of what is about to happen to them. All subjects report a complete belief in the reality of the dream world, even knowing that they are playing events from the game. If a subject has died violently in the game, the subsequent dream of the event can be traumatic enough that this belief can foster a delusion that the real world is unreal. Victims of this delusion report being convinced that they are still dreaming or in the purgatory. Both psychological and physiological and psychological reactions are not clinically abnormal for the stressor subject report experiencing within these dreams. Given the experimental evidence in-game actions having actual historical impact, reference experiment log A, it is theorized that the dreaming state is a side effect caused by the player's perception of the game-directed activity catching up to the present day. Experiment log for SCP-687. Experiment log A. Test 005 blank blank 19 blank D blank. Subject provided an unloaded .45 automatic handgun and is told to play the game and issue the command inventory followed by the command drop gun. Subject game avatar has unloaded 45 automatic handgun in an inventory of same make and model provided by to subject. The command drop gun results in the gun being left in a dumpster next to the subject's avatar. At this point, the subject is ordered to exit the game. Physical gun is still in the subject's possession and surrendered back to the Foundation personnel. Okay, 006, blank 9, yeah, okay, that's all the same. Immediately after test, 005 subject provided a box of 45 caliber ammunition, and it's told to resume the game. Subject game avatar appears in the same place. Gameplay dropped during prior tests. Subject types pick up a gun followed by the inventory command. The subject avatar now has both gun and ammunition in inventory. Subject score increases by 10 points after the gun is loaded. Physical gun is still in possession of Foundation personnel. 007. Subject with in-game possession of a loaded firearm is instructed to type commands shoot self. Subject game avatar shoots itself. Score is reset to 0. All commands ended after this received the response. You cannot do that. You are dead. Subject expresses disappointment but suffers no immediate effects. The following morning, subject evidence considerable distress, showing uncontrolled tremors and weeping. When asked about cause of distress, subject responds, "I couldn't stop myself." Oh, like in dream he shot himself. Yeah. 015. Subject with a game avatar occupying the city of blank in 1938 is instructed to place a classified ad in the blank gazette reading Dr. Blank is a loser. Subject types in command place ad in blank gazette that reads Dr. Blank is a loser. The game passes command and prints 5 pages of narrative in response, covering approximately 3 hours of game time, including a bus ride to the blank gazette offices, small talk with the receptionist, and a discussion with an editor about the content of the ad. Foundation researcher uncovered microfiche records of the 12/1/1938 issue of the blank gazette containing that the ad Dr. Blank is a loser score increases by 100 points. Given the importance of these results, I will overlook the fact that I am not amused. Dr. Blank. Test 023. Subject with the game avatar occupying the city of blank in 1924 is given a first edition hardcover of Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut, inscribed by Dr. Blank. Once subject is playing game, subject is instructed to go to the blank bank and place in-game copy of the book in a safety deposit box. Subject attempts to comply but is caught in the crossfire of a gang war. Game avatar dies and score resets to blank. 2000 blank, a routine audit of the Foundation archives uncovered SCP blank, an anomalous hardcover edition of Slaughterhouse 5 recovered from a used bookstore in Los Angeles, CA in 1947. The book bears inscription by Dr. Blank and the additional phrase "Miss Me Yet" written in human blood. Second inscription is considered the handwriting of D67895. SB blank is reclassified as SB blank X. And Incident 1. D67895, male, 27 years of age, sociopath, convicted of the redacted series of killing in redacted Asian blank and C blank and research assistant Dr. D.G. blank. Date blank, containment room of SCP-687. For a period of 2 weeks, D67895 has been extremely cooperative with Foundation personnel and had logged 25 hours of gameplay, covering approximately 2 months of in-game time during January and February 1934 in Cleveland. I believe that's Ohio, right? D67895 proves highly intelligent and adaptable, using the sophistication of the game's parser to complete very complex tasks with 1 or 2 commands. Permission granted to allow D67895 to read newspaper of the era, as well as retain paper and writing implements to take notes. 3 days before scheduled monthly termination, D67895 is brought in for a routine scheduled session with SCP-678. Halfway into the 687, halfway into the session of the D67895 types the following unauthorized command: do everything written on page 1. Upon entering the command, approximately 150 pages of narrative text are printed on screen. Dr. G. Blank, observing and wrote the orders, immediately ended the session and initiates containment breach protocols. Agent A. Blank and C. Blank in the room with D67895 Blank attempt to restrain the subject and remove him from contact with SCP-687. D67895 Blank 9. D67895 laughs, saying, "Too late, boys," when the narrative text completes printing data expunged. Aside from SCP blank X, no trace of Agent Blank and Agent Z or D67895 has been recovered by the Foundation to date. Good lord, did no one even think to look at the history of Cleveland in the mid-30s and compare it to D67895's record? Could someone please Google torso Dr. Blank? This might be worse than that. If SCP-687 does rewrite history, it's quite possible that the torso murders, or redacted for that matter, might not have been existed before this security breach. Do we have any way to know from this point on forward no Class Ds are allowed near this thing? Man, he's so helpful. He's doing what we ask of him. He is. It's just great to have somebody who is cooperative. I'm actually here to fuck you guys over, but I'm not telling you guys. So, hole dwellers. Euclid. SCP-688 is active in the wild. Specimens are retrieved by Mobile Task Force Theta 13 land sharks as uncontained nests are identified. I just need to know, is the next one long? No, thank you. Thank you so much. I can read both of them and then go to bed. As nested, SCP-688 should be retrieved in darkness by agents provided with night vision equipment and should be moved only by removal of the entire nest, including whatever physical structure is required to keep the nesting area enclosed and intact. The nest will be enclosed in an opaque, light-proof container and be transferred and installed in the SCP-688 warehousing facility of Site Blank. The SCP-688 warehousing facility shall provide an open area of at least 5,000 square meters protected from outside illumination, and each SCP-688 nest contained within shall be covered with a secondary light-proof enclosure that should only be removed from testing and feeding of SCP-688. Each individual SCP-688 will be fed an amount and on a schedule specified by the researcher in charge. Though biomass fed to SCP-688 should include at least 25% living tissue to discourage SCP-688 from abandoning its nest. These criteria can be waived for testing at the discretion of the site director. When SCP-688 is an animate, apparently living entity that shares many gross morphological similarities with Isthmiosian cassinus chestnut lamprey. However, it differs in several key respects. SCP-688 has no external sensory organs, gills, or I need to know what that looks like. Oh, okay. Oh, these motherfuckers. However, it differs in several key respects. Yep. Has no sensory organs, gills, or local openings. SCP-688 is also much larger and varies considerably more in size, ranging from 10 centimeters to over 200 centimeters in length. So 2 meters, damn, that's a big boy. It's longer than me. SCP-688 is also found in a more varied habitat and has been found as far south as Redacted and as far north as Redacted, above ground in burrows as well as underwater. Unlike that, I can't say that thing, SCP-688 is an ambush predator rather than a parasite. SCP-688 will inhabit a nesting site that conceals its body from the light and anchor its mouth to an external opening. While in the nesting site, SCP-688 does not move and will consume all biological matter that enters the opening. These nesting sites can be naturally occurring or man-made, as long as there is a limited light exposure and some minimal biological matter entering on a periodic basis. The more biological matter, the greater SCP-688's tolerance for some illumination. No example of SCP-688 has been discovered outside of an active nesting site, and it is unknown how or even if these entities move in the wild, or how they find sites into the nest in. To date, SCP-688 nests have been discovered in animal burrows, fissures in rock formation, hollow logs, drainage pipes, gutter downspouts, garbage, disposal shoes, and other articles of clothing, inside the engine block of an abandoned Buick Century and inside Redacted. Once any biological matter enters SCP-688's mouth, inward curving teeth will seize it and pull it into SCP-688's digestive tract with enough force to pull in prey substantially larger than either SCP-688's apparent size or the diameter of its nesting site. matter sized by SCP-688 has proved impossible to retrieve. SCP-688 will continue pulling until it forces the entire prey organism through the nest opening. A 68 kilogram Great Dane was observed being pulled through a 20 centimeter pipe in less than 3 seconds, or until, oh my god, that thing is strong, or until the prey organism's body suffers mechanical separation from the product being consumed. Doing an experiment, one D-class personnel placed her index finger into an infected light socket. In 1.8 seconds, she lost her left arm to the elbow and suffered a degloving injury up to the shoulder, at which point her elbow joint separated and she fell back from the nesting site. Those things are ruthless. SCP-688 is able to ingest an apparently limited amount of organic material without excreting, changing in size, or gaining any mass. This is apparently due to the digestive system that leads to an extra-dimensional organism. This also leads to SCP-688's novel method of escaping from perceived threats. If exposed to bright light, or if dislodged from its nesting site, its mouth will retreat inside, pulling SCP-688 out of skin after itself. As it does this, SCP-688's body will appear to reduce in volume in a manner that has been described as an empty balloon turning inside out, or a sock rolling in on itself. This will continue until SCP-688 disappears completely. Such events under Foundation control are considered containment breaches and will be disciplined if not occurring as part of the approved experiment. But doesn't that also count as termination, because they kind of eat themselves? I might be wrong. On 8/7/19 blank, Foundation agents became aware of the possible SCP active in blank Mexico when they intercepted police reports of several violent deaths. The victims were all male, and with the exception of one decapitation, shared similar injuries. The victims' genitals have been forcibly removed along with several pounds of other tissues. In one case, this missing tissue included prostate, bladder, kidneys, and several feet of intestine, causing death by exsanguination. They probably was a glory hole situation. The investigation agents traced the victims to a local brothel. Yep. See? Where it was determined that the victims redacted when confronted. Mrs. Blank admitted to killing the men, showed no remorse, and claimed redacted. The investigation agents were not immediately aware of the possibility of SCP-688 involvement and captured her in accordance with standard protocols for medium-risk humanoid SCP recovery. Once in Foundation custody, examination discovered a 28 cm long SCP-688 had nested within Mrs. Blank's, partly displacing and descending the uterus. Mrs. Blank could not provide any insight into its origin. Okay. It has been theorized that because Mrs. Blank is post-menopausal and therefore does not run as high as a risk of infection from blockage of the birth canal, she may be able to survive the SCP-688 infestation indefinitely. The site director has authorized testing this hypothesis. With restrained sedation and periodic feeding, Mrs. Blank has survived for the past blank years. Wow. Honestly, probably one of the many reasons why I would never do a glory hole in my life is just, what if it's just like, it's just a shady place, you know, and then it's off. It's just gone. No thank you. I'd rather not. Hunter in the Dark is the last one. And it's Keto. Okay. I'm glad we got this far. I do apologize again that I couldn't read the entirety of the experiment logs here. I'm not gonna record that. I'm gonna read it for myself, and this is the first time that I'm gonna do that because tomorrow is gonna be very busy. I'm not gonna have any chance to. I'm not sure if I can have a chance to stream tomorrow either, but yeah, I'm gonna be exhausted. It's gonna be a busy day, so. I do apologize that I haven't read the whole thing. Usually I would. You guys know, you have seen all my other videos. I usually would, but today is an occasion, an exception, a special occasion, an exception. SCP-689 is to be contained in a large concrete chamber equipped with high-intensity sodium iodide lights. These lights must be wired into separate redundant circuits to such that SCP-689 is brightly illuminated at all times. At least 3 personnel must be on duty at all times within the containment facility, 2 Class D inside the chamber and 1 level 2 or higher at the operator's station outside the chamber. The operator must either be completely blind or be fitted with a visual helmet sufficient to block all vision, which must not be removed for the duration of this shift. Under absolutely no circumstances is the operator to look into the chamber. The Class D observers must between them keep SCP-689 in view at all times without exception. Blinking, etc. is allowed as normal, but there must be at least 1 set of eyes focused on SCP-689 at all times. If the lights go out inside the chamber at any time for any reason, or if there's any interruption in observation, all currently extant personnel who have seen SCP-689 must be executed without delay. It is recommended that they be fitted with remotely activated kill devices triggerable from the containment control room. If SCP-689 is known to have left the chamber at any time, retrieval teams consisting of blind or visored personnel equipped with echolocators along with Class D observers must be dispatched to the location of all personnel who have previously viewed SCP-689. Retrieval teams will establish an immediate perimeter and cover the object before returning it to the chamber as quickly as possible. While SCP-689 is in transit, the Class D observers will stand under the covering and keep it in view at all times. Any level 1 or below personnel who have seen SCP-689 as a result of a containment breach are to be terminated immediately. Higher clearance personnel will be temporarily retained, but in the event of another containment failure are to be terminated. Requests to study SCP-689 must be submitted to Dr. Blank at least 7 days in advance with a detailed description of the proposed experiment and justification. Any researcher director viewing SCP-689 should be aware that doing so renders them liable to immediate and summary termination in the event of any containment or light failure or described above. Description: SCP-689 appears to be a small green soapstone statue, 30 centimeters in height. It is carved in the semblance of what appears to be an unknown deity of the underworld, a seated skeletal figure with hands clasped over knees. It was discovered by Blank during one of the pre-war German archaeological expedition in the Blank era of India and obtained after the war by the OSS. Its location during the war is unknown. SCP-689 is completely inert for as long as it is being watched by at least 1 human being. Normal behaviors such as blinking do not appear to interrupt the watching for this purpose, but any lapse in attention, however momentary, renders the observer vulnerable. As soon as SCP-689 is unobserved, it vanishes from its current location. Within 15 to 20 seconds, 1 person who has previously viewed SCP-689 dies instantaneously. SCP-689 appearing on top of the remains. Okay, yeah, that's okay. If no previous viewers are presently alive, it reappears in the same place as before. Tests have established that this effect is not operative on non-humans, but any human being who has ever directly viewed SCP-689 is potentially vulnerable. No consistent cause of death has been found, with autopsy results ranging from heart attacks and strokes to complete rupture of all internal organs. The mechanism by which the victim is selected is currently unknown, save that preference seems to be given to persons in crowds or otherwise surrounded by large numbers of people, presumably to increase the number of people viewing the statue. Recorded images of SCP-689 do not appear to have this property. Due to the potential for a chain reaction, once SCP-689 is allowed to leave the chamber, it is considered absolutely critical that all personnel who have seen the object be terminated immediately on any lapse in observation. Yeah, because otherwise it jumps to them, right? So, yeah, every time it jumps to somebody, it could be seen by somebody else. It's basically Shy Guy, except it doesn't care if you look. It does care that you look at it, but it doesn't care if you look at its face. It just cares that you have seen it. It's a mixture of it's kind of like SCP-173 as well. Like, you have to keep looking at it, and if you look away or you blink, it breaks your neck like instantaneously. And Shy Guy is that you shouldn't look at it. So it has the aspect of don't look at Shy Guy. But if you do look at it, and I'm pretty sure like this is and if you do look at it, never look away. So it has the shy guy, don't look at it. But if you do, it has the the statue of logic of like never look away, except that you're allowed to blink with him, so that's fine. Those are the 2 security clearance should see document B. Proposed experiment with SCP-682. Yeah, holding the failure of other options given their priority according to the determination of SCP-682. Doctors blank and blank have proposed that SCP-682 be deliberately exposed to SCP-689, presumably followed by turning off the lights or a similar measure. SCP-689 staff caution that in the event of a deliberate observational failure, all personnel who have seen SCP-689 other than the intended target must be either terminated in advance or placed in the containment chamber with the intended subject to ensure that the object does not escape containment. Given the apparently random nature of the selection process, it is also likely that multiple trials will be required before the target came under the attack. Staff recommends that if such an option is activated, all Class D personnel be terminated in advance of the attempt to improve chance of success. I'm very sorry that today was a bit scuffed. Today was a bit scuffed over reading because of like, as I said, I'm a bit very strict with myself right now. 13 minutes left, and I need to go to bed. Yeah, no, you know what? Yeah, this is it. This is my list. How to destroy reptile. It's just amazing. First of all, I only read like what, a quarter of like all the experiments, and I'm in love. I love a lot of SCPs that have long ass experiments like that. Of course, for streaming, reading them for streaming, like right now, it's a bit problematic because that probably is not an hour and a half of reading. But I do love seeing like these many type of experiments and like how people how the Foundation reacts to that and how the SP reacts to that. It's definitely amazing. But just in general, like the premise is like I imagine like a much larger crocodile. Even though there's a picture, I imagine like a much larger crocodile that just doesn't die. And he can speak, and he hates everything. Haunt in the Dark, the last one. Yeah, no, that's oh god, the 2 Kitas today were really good. So I really enjoyed Haunt in the Dark as well. Just I can imagine that this could really quickly cause a chain reaction if you're not careful. Hostile Helium, like it's just sneaky. The helium is fucking sneaky, dude. Like, it's just you can't even see it. Like, it basically is for people who are around this one. If there's a leakage, just at one moment they will be talking, they will be breathing, and next thing you know, there's just nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Infectious lactation. That's just hilarious. You become a cow. It's creepy. It's spooky. It's a bit freaky. But it is hilarious. Hole Dwellers. Woo! Rest in peace to all the men who lost their dinglings, thanks to these things. But also, boy, are those strong. They're strong. They're strong. Strong eel-like fishies. Non-Bottomless pit. I think the idea of like just a pit where you can throw. I'm pretty sure. Didn't Gravity Falls do that? Didn't Gravity Falls have a pit where they threw stuff in and then it came back up? Because I thought it was like also like endless, but it wasn't. Maybe. Noir. The dreams and like how it's basically it's sort of online, but old school. If you die in a game, you die for real. Or at least close to dying. Sometimes. Refrigerator art. Yeah, that's just like, come on, like, let's be honest. Most of us don't want the art there, but then you take it away and then you miss skin, you miss flesh, and then it's just in the refrigerator. It's just your own flesh is served up. The Caretaken. Yeah, that's, as I said, that's the one I was paying a bit less attention to because I was trying to like read faster. So I probably have to like look for that one more time tomorrow. But for now, I think that's a bit lower. But I think it is sad how like the people in each of the stations get basically recycled. Not recycled. They just get. Yeah, it's just like they get broken down and reassembled. That's what it is. Not recycled, reassembled. From like from already existing human to scratch to back to existing human, and that's just the next newer version of that same human being. And Clockwork Skull, I put you down here because you're a bitch. You could help the Foundation, but no, you have to be more complicated than that, don't you? Don't ya? Okay, guys, I'm actually very tired. So I see you guys next week when we finish the pixel art of 2B. And I'm flying off at Saturday, so we won't have a stream. We won't have a stream on Saturday, and we won't have a stream for a while. But I will say that again on Friday anyway. But before I go, remember there's a Thankmas link down below. I would appreciate anybody who watches this and watches till the end, or has seen the beginning of this part of this stream, that you just go down, click the link, and just donate a small amount, a big amount, up to you. And if you don't donate, then please just spread the word. At least spread the word to like people that you are aware, like, okay, they would definitely donate something. It's going to a great cause, and it would help out not only Jack with spreading this cause, but also it would help, that's the most important, the people who will then will gain a house. Families, you know, partners who just are on the streets and don't have anywhere to go. It would be great help. So, guys, thank you very much. I'm sorry again if this stream was a bit scuffed, and I see you guys Wednesday. Maybe tomorrow, if maybe. I doubt it, highly doubt it, but who knows. But for now, just